thunderstorm that continues to strengthen as it moves up to the northeast. So Oneida here at 431, Dover 452, Hennessy at 506 with this storm. And again, tornado warning for Blaine and Kingfisher County remains in effect. Now just Kingfisher, I do believe. Watching this. Oh, there you go. Yeah. There you go right there. This coming in from Sky 5 and Chase, Rutledge and Francisco. This storm is just spinning. I mean, you can see it up here, and at times you can see the wind just kicks up there as it touches the ground. Has not been staying on the ground for at least anything more than a few seconds at a time, but you can just see this whole storm is rotating, and the environment will get even more, better, more supportive of the storm that continue to get even larger. And as we've been saying throughout the day, the threat for strong tornadoes was certainly going to be there. And so right now, this is the dominant storm in the state from Hennessy to Dover. This is north of Kingfisher. Kingfisher, you're okay, but this storm continues to rotate as it continues to move up to the northeast and a very unstable environment. Our crews are out today from northern Oklahoma, and as you make your way down to the south with Michael, Derek, we have Nick, we have Shane, Chris, Sky 5, Buck out watching these storms right now. Right now there's just one tornado warning in the state, and it is this storm right here that is going to be for Kingfisher. Again, we're about a handful of miles north of Kingfisher, so you're okay. Kingfisher, you're not even in the tornado warning. You have a severe thunderstorm warning, but right now the tornado warning will be up to the north here. You can see how far away you are, Kingfisher. Now, other storms are going up, and so we need to watch these storms minute by minute because you can see them from Watauga, north of Weatherford, and then other cells going up down by Apache for OKC. We're going to watch these ones real closely. Right now, so far, they haven't really become at least that strong yet, so let's hope they can stay on the low end side here. But right now, this storm is certainly the dominant one that we have in the state. Chris Lee, watching this storm that both you and Sky 5 are both on right now. Chris Lee, what do you see from your vantage point here, Chris?
Yeah, it did come down to the ground again just a few seconds ago. You can see, I don't see anything on the ground right now. There's a lot of rotation, and there's a rotation in a couple of areas, but it's moving off a little more to the north than it was, and to the east. We're just about a mile south of Loyal, and it looks like it's going to go very close to the town of Loyal, hopefully to the north of that. And I am seeing now.
Yeah, Chris, we can see it kind of bouncing back and forth between what you're seeing there, Chris, on the ground, and then what Sky 5 sees up in the air. This is still near Loyal, and so really what this storm has done, at least over the past few minutes, is it has produced weak tornadoes kind of bouncing across the ground. We're hoping that it can stay that way or lower, but as we've been saying all throughout the afternoon, this is still a very unstable atmosphere as the storm continues to move up to northeast. So, Kingfisher, you are okay. Again, Kingfisher, the town of Kingfisher, you're all right. But up towards Dover, towards Loyal, watching this storm as it continues to move up to the northeast. Wacomas, as you make your way to southern Garfield County, watching the storm for you as well. So right now you're watching KOCO 5 News at 5. Big story right now continues to be just the explosive environment that we have for severe weather today. We have now had at least 3 tornado warnings so far, a bunch of severe thunderstorm warnings, and our tornado watch remains in effect until 10 o'clock. So putting a track on the tornado warning, which expires in 30 minutes, but we'll probably at least see quite a few of them this afternoon, is at Oneida there at 435, Dover 459, Hennessy 508, Lovell at 552, Crescent, and then Marshall right around 550. Here's your inflow into this storm north of Loyal. That is the storm right there. That is where the rotation is. And so far, when you look at what's happening inside the storm, it's rotating. I mean, it's rotating right over Oneida here, just east of Loyal. So tornado warning absolutely needs to be still ongoing for this storm. This storm has not weakened at all, as it's produced at least a few quick tornadoes along the ground here. Look at that. I mean, this storm is just rotating so hard. Jonathan, that velocity couplet, that is a loud one.
It is, Damon, and that's what I'm looking at the lowest levels. And as I pan again, I said this before, as I pan the radar up, and I'm not showing that on air, but as I pan up the mesocyclone, the circulation is much, much stronger. So this is a very strong supercell storm. A couple things here that we're kind of noticing with Sky 5, it's getting a little wrapped up, a little bit more moisture is coming around the backside. So it's the cone is maybe not as high contrast as it was the last couple of times. So we're going to have to watch for that. And also concerned that we're starting to see storms fire up down the line. We call that a flanking line. And so this is, obviously a supercell. It's dominant. It's got a strong engine on it. As it moves to the east, it's moving into an environment which is conducive for strong tornadoes. So we've seen the storm cycle, right? And it dropped, little section spots and narrow funnels and wider funnels, but we haven't seen any significant damage from Sky 5. But as the storm continues to move to the east, if nothing kind of develops to its south and gets pulled in, it's moving in an environment where we can have, again, those strong, long track tornadoes. Got to watch, again, this flanking line. Sometimes these storms will, pop through. For example, we'll have to watch what happens down here, down the southwest with the Watauga Greenfield storm, and then watching what's happening down here. These storms are struggling a little bit, but they have some lightning on them. And if these kind of poke through and get dominant and strong, unfortunately, my concern is that those storms will come right up the turnpike into Oklahoma City, and we just have extremely high humidity and heat. So I know I was here this morning, we had the heavy thunderstorms come through. A lot of people were messaging me like, hey, it rained this morning, we're not going to have storms. Not true. We recovered, okay? So we're going to have to watch these storms. They're not organized right now, but watch for one of those to become like a dominant storm, dominant updraft, and then it be coming into OKC. So when that starts to happen, you'll hear me kind of get, I'll bring you the first alert. I get a little excited about it. But right now, this is the one big storm that we're watching.
Yeah, and when we say the atmosphere out here is just explosive for storm development, I know look, in Oklahoma, we probably have more people in this state that love weather than any other state out there. And so just looking at some of the meteorological analysis that we have right now, for those that follow instability, we're sitting at 4,500 Cape right now. That is incredibly high. And again, I know a lot of y'all are saying, well, what in the world is that? That's just the amount of instability that we have in the atmosphere. So that means these storms can get incredibly tall. They can produce some incredible hail as well. And so when we say that these storms are moving into an atmosphere that is just like incredibly unstable, we mean it, absolutely. And so this storm continues to rotate. We're watching other storms going up down the line here. But right now, one tornado warning currently in the state. It is this right here. We're just a few miles northeast of Loyal. You're looking into the western sky. That storm is not tornado warned. A lot of thunderstorms out there, but the circulation is going to be between Loyal and up towards Hennessy. Here's your hail, by the way. All the black that you see that is stretching from Dover as you make your way southeast of Parvin, this is your hail, which this is warned on for now golf ball size hail, but this storm is rotating hard. Nick Smith right now is up in Hennessy as well. So heads up, Nick, that the hail core is about to make its way very close to you. Let's check. Oh, my goodness. Let's go out to Sky 5. Look at this right here. When you see what we see from up in the air, wow. I mean, and this storm is tall. It's going 50,000 feet up in the air. So this storm is just, the taller they get, the more significant they are. But just look at that. I mean, when you think about what severe weather looks like in Oklahoma, you see these wall clouds, you see these lowerings like this. I mean, my goodness, that is just an incredible looking shot here. Let's go out to Sky 5 right now. Chase Rutledge up in Loyal. Chase, we've been watching your shots throughout the entire afternoon. Okay, we'll get you back up here in just a moment. But Sky 5 has had just an incredible view of these storms and these brief tornadoes that have been spinning along the countrysides of northern Kingfisher County. Let's go back out to Chase right now. Chase, incredible storm in front of you. Chase, have you seen any more touchdowns with this storm?
Yeah, Damon, not in the past few minutes. We have not seen any more touchdowns. There's a lot of rain. The rain is really increasing, but what we're kind of looking at right here is that lowering, and there are striations in this cloud indicating a lot of rotation. So I would not be surprised if over the next few minutes we do see some lowerings, and you can see through the cloud as the sun kind of on the backside of it, all the rain that's coming down, and still some lowerings that we're keeping an eye on because there's still a lot of movement in this storm that you guys are seeing there in the studio. But we're definitely watching this close, Becky.
Yeah, and we know you're watching it closely up in the air, both you and Francisco. We have our team of chasers on the ground as well, watching this as well. But this is just an incredible storm that we continue to see moving up to the northeast. So right now, still at 4:37 on this Monday afternoon, one tornado warning. It is this right here. Let's zoom on out. Let's kind of reset everything, show everyone that's just now getting home from work what's happening. These storms that are south of Anadarko and Lawton, they are getting stronger. They're not warned on, but they too are part of this environment that's incredibly unstable. So you can see here how fast they are going up from Apache to Cyril to Elgin. At this current track, these would come into the metro. So this could very well be something that if you leave for work at 5 and 6 o'clock, may want to hang tight right now. These are not warned on yet, but these two are continuing to move up to northeast. And you can see storms are now back building down from Hinton to Eakley, north of Binger as well. You can see it here on the radar just west of Calumet. So bottom line, there's a lot happening across now central Oklahoma at 4:37 this afternoon. Storms down to the southwest. Storms now back building north of Weatherford, and then we just have a cluster of storms that are currently ongoing as you go up into northern Oklahoma. We do not have any warnings for these right now, but we are still watching for at least these storms to continue to strengthen as they make their way towards Amber and Chickasha. Let's go up to the north. Let's check in on what Michael Armstrong was on just earlier when we had the strong straight line winds, get an update. So Storm Command near Enid. Wow, look at those winds up just north there. Yeah, those are some powerful winds south of Pond Creek and Kremlin. Michael, really watching some powerful straight line winds. Where you are, Michael, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Absolutely, and Damon, I think that's being driven by is a low pressure area that's right along Highway 64, right by Pond Creek, basically over top of it. And then there's a surge of wind that comes out from underneath that to the south, and almost in a bowing fashion right there as it's coming in toward Hunter and Lamont. Let me tell you, this is going to move over toward Tonkawa. There's really not anything to inhibit it. I expect that could produce some damaging winds, even if it doesn't produce a tornado, all the way over into Ponca City, and it's moving fast too, guys. I mean, it is really moving fairly quickly there across northern parts of Oklahoma. It's basically moving straight east, right down Highway 60. So Lamont, Hunter, Billings, Tonkawa, Red Rock, Marlin, Ponca City, you guys get ready because that is going to be a powerful line of storms when it does make its way through. Man, some of those winds, they look fierce.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And we'll talk to Derek Klein in just a moment here. I want to go down to Vance Air Force Base, the location here, just in between Wacomas and Vance, where this right here does appear to be rotating. This is an area of the storm that is definitely beginning to spin a bit here, just on the west side of Vance. You can see here our shear markers are beginning to pop up right over Vance Air Force Base, coming into the south side of Enid. That right there very well could be our next tornado warning that comes out of this. That is when you see this popping up on a radar, that is some loud signatures right here, and that's going to be some pretty powerful winds, or very well could even be tornado trying to develop. We have Shane right now just south of Drummond. We have Michael right now on the east side of Vance, or east side of Enid, excuse me. This is moving up to the northeast. So Vance Air Force Base, tell you what, right now, if you're in Enid, especially south sides of Enid, go ahead, just get away from your windows, innermost room of your house. While it's not tornado warned yet, knowing what's capable of happening over Garfield County and how fast these storms can go, pretty much just kind of hit the acceleration, I'd just be watching out for this real closely. You know we are, absolutely. So Vance right now, 441. The airport there, Enid Airport at 4:55, and then we go towards the fertilizer plant as you make way on the east side of town, right around 5 o'clock, Fairmont, Breckenridge, and Garber between 5 and 5:21. All of these communities that we have listed right here, be prepared for a tornado warning. While it's not tornado warned yet, know that it's getting there. It is absolutely getting there, and so that is certainly pretty concerning, and Michael has eyes on it, and so does Shane. Shane has eyes on this one as well. So right now, that's a pretty significant storm there on the west side of the base, making its way up to northeast. Would likely be put up in some rain here, quite a bit of rain coming out of this, making its way through Vance Air Force Base, and again, very close to Enid with that storm. It's not tornado warned, but it's getting close. So we're going to watch it. Let's go back down to our tornado warning. We'll get back to Enid there in just a second, but I do want to get an update from Chris Lee, where velocity still looks rather tight as you make way west of Dover. Chris, how's the storm look from where you are?
Yeah, we are just west of Dover, about 5 miles, looking a little bit west of due north, and you can see a lowering underneath that rotation area. It has cycled several times. I'm not seeing the hard rotation we were seeing. We're a little further away. Visibility's gotten a lot different. Chase was pointing this out earlier, that we're getting a lot more precipitation around, so it's not backlit like it was with the sun. It's a little harder to see the details, but as I pull back, you can look and you can see that round area. That's the inflow area, and it's circulating in the middle of that lowered area, that lighter area right there is actually rotating, although it's not in contact with the ground and it's not real hard rotation right now. But that area has been moving to the to the east, northeast. Looks like it'll go just to the north of the town of Dover.
Okay, all right, Chris, we're going to watch your storm again, currently out near Dover. So let's go back over to the radar. We do have a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that is about to be issued. This could be down south of I-40, down towards Caddo in Comanche County. Why is this important? Because these have Oklahoma City written on them as we're moving up to the northeast. So right now, the metro, we are currently storm free, not for much longer though. So you're going to see these storms move up to the northeast. We have Buck on this, so we'll talk to Buck here in just a moment. But Fletcher at 4:47, Surreal at 4:55, Ninnekah to Chickasha by 5:30. Current track, this is going to be pushing into southwestern sides of the metro by 6 o'clock here. So currently it's about an hour and 20 minutes. Bit of a faster storm motion today, about 35, 40 miles per hour. So we'll get a polygon on this one here in just a second. Tornado warning for Enid. Let's go back up to Enid. We'll go back up to Enid. And so tornado warning just issued. So this was that cell that we were just watching here. It's going to be right over Vance Air Force Base. Oh, wow. Let's go out to Michael. Michael, watching this real tight couplet right in front of you. This is just east of Vance Air Force Base. Michael, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, actually, it's right behind us. As a matter of fact, you're looking backwards on my 360 camera, and this is looking back toward the Enid area, extremely low right here. We are just on the east side of Enid. Let me tell you exactly where it's at. So for people in Enid, so they know where I'm at. I'm over by 30th Street and Highway 412. We're actually getting ready to move right over toward South 42nd. And it's definitely increased in rotation, and this looks like Damon, it's kind of on the edge of the leading edge of the storm, so it's more of like a hybrid tornado, but nonetheless, this thing is really spinning right now as it's coming up. There's just a large lowered area all along here, right in there, and anywhere in there, that's where the tornado could develop at any moment. We're just keeping our eyes peeled right now, and you're seeing that live right here on my 360 camera as we're watching that move in over the southeast side of Enid. And yeah, it is, man, it's going to be moving very close to Woodring Airport too.
Well, yeah, we definitely see that. Let's go over to the radar. When you look at the velocity that we have here, this is where the tornado would be located. So we're just east of Vance. Enid, this is incredibly close to town, but right now we're about a mile south of downtown Enid, but that is where the area of spin is. So there's your rotation. At this current track, there's Michael. Here's Enid. Here's the airport here on the southeast side of the town. That is a very tight rotating couplet right there, velocity couplet that we have. So currently it's 4:45. The airport within the next 10 minutes. If you're out near the airport or the fertilizer plant, just stay put right now. Don't try to get out. Fairmont at 5:07. Garber at 5:27. That is a tight couplet right here. When you see these bright colors, red and green, right next to each other, that is a storm that is spinning right like that. That's a big deal. And so this tornado warning, this is absolutely one that is definitely warranted. You can see here. Let's go back out to Michael. Michael, I know this thing's up in some rain, but anything standing out to you right now?
It is. That's exactly the thing, and it's going to be right on the leading edge of the rain. We're in perfect position to see if it does in fact drop. Now, I will tell you that it's pretty low right in there, Damon. You can see that. I mean, there is a lowering hanging down. Kyle, let's pull over and just watch that for a minute. We kind of got a break in the trees here, Damon. We're right along 412. We're east of 30th Street, and let's see. We're coming up on 54th now on the east side of Enid. We're right near Woodring Airport, just on the northwest side of it, and we're looking back to our southwest. Let me show you what I mean. That's my satellite dish on the back of Storm Command. Here's our 360 camera. So just to the south of 412 is where we're looking, and there's just a huge lowered area all along there, and we're just watching for any type of touchdowns, and it may be that we have to let it get it close to us to where we can see something that's actually on the ground. It could be that there's not even a condensation funnel. That is always a possibility. We must remember that just because you don't have a condensation funnel doesn't mean you don't have a tornado. So we're going to let it kind of come in a little bit closer to us. We've got great east roads here. It'll help us stay out ahead of it. We're not going to be in danger, but we do need to let it get a little bit closer to us to be able to verify whether or not there is a tornado with it. But man, this thing is really spinning. You're right.
Yeah, and it is spinning. And when you see that on the radar, that is why we have a tornado warning. That right there is where your circulation couplet is going to be east of Vance Air Force Base. There's a lot beginning to unfold here, almost at this 5 o'clock hour. Not only is this storm rotating, and this storm is packing quite the couplet on radar, it's also dropping some huge hail. Baseballs is what this storm is now warned on. So that is going to be 1.5 miles east of the highway here that takes you now east of Vance. And so, again, we're just now east of Van Buren there as you make your way in and out of Enid. But that's now pulling it very close to 16th and 30th Street. Again, 16th and 30th Street coming up on 412. As you can see, Storm Command right here. Yeah, that would absolutely be a rain-wrapped tornado. You can actually see the reflectivity and the rotation of that. Holy cow, that's some loud noise here on this radar. When things are loud on the radar, it's never good. And so that right there is where your storm is rotating. We're gonna watch this. Michael's right here. I do want to touch base real quick because we have another storm that is just north of here that Derek is on that is going to be warned on for 70+ mile per hour winds. It's right here near Hunter, east of Kremlin. Look at that couplet right there. These are some powerful straight line winds. Let's go out to Derek real quick if we can. Derek, your storm warned on for some extremely strong winds. Not tornado warn, but straight line winds can do damage just like a tornado. Derek, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, Damon, we're just to the south of those high winds. And you can tell that the storm has high wind because we have a northwest wind where we're at. We're consistently trying to catch up to it. It's moving so fast. But the wind is not super high where we're at, but 45 to 50 mile an hour winds at times out of the northwest, which tells me that it's kind of pulling around and then wrapping up towards the front side of that. And that mid-level, upper-level rotation is what's causing these winds to get so strong. So we can see that in the characteristics of the weather that we're seeing right here, even though we're not in the wind. So we can tell that the wind is definitely there, and we're just trying to position ourselves as we get up towards Hunter to get out in front of this so we can see that wind. There's also been some signs. We can tell that there might even be a little bit of rotation in it as well. So we're going to try to get out in front of it and let you know what we see when we get there. Back to you.
Okay, be safe out there, Derek, on the road. So let's go back down to Enid. So I know the sirens are going off in Enid. A lot of people are saying, hey, what's going on here? So right now, that couplet is southeast of Enid. So Enid, really, you're not in the tornado warning. It's just south. But that is where the couplet's right over the airport, right over the Enid Woodring Airport here. Storm Command's about half a mile away from this, put up in some rain here. Michael, how's it look from your vantage point?
Still a lot of lowerings. We're actually looking now off to the right here and just watching for anything to touch down, Damon. It looks extremely low. Keep going, Kyle. We're watching all of this. It's really kind of creeping up on us now with the rain here, and this is what we needed to do. We needed to be able to get in closer with it like we were talking about, a lot of lowered areas, but as you can see, again, there's just not anything as far as I can see that's touching down, but man, it is really, really hanging low. And we know based on radar it's spinning as well. Even, like I can see rotating rain curtains. It doesn't necessarily guarantee there's a tornado on the ground, but I can see the rain is spinning.
So in the last couple of radar scans, at least it looks like this storm has just broadened out just a little bit. Not much though. But this is what we have to do, scan by scan. Michael's watching it, and again, this tornado warning is still rightfully warranted. You can see here how it just went right up like that, where that couple is rotating just south of 412. Vance, you're okay. Enid, I know the sirens are sounding, but right now the area of rotation with this storm is actually moving away from you every second that we have here. So it's over the airport. It's kind of not nearly as tight, so that's a good at least transition here. It's kind of a good step in the right. It's a step in the right direction, I should be saying, where the couplet's not nearly as tight. Still, though, this is a tornado warning, rightfully so, going into eastern Garfield County. Fairmont 502. Garber 524, Billings at 551. Passing along a couple areas or some new information about our tornado watch is that we are actually Comanche, Cotton, Jefferson, Garvin, and Stevens County will be added to the tornado watch there. So in just a little bit here, your phones will go off. This area is still rotating. We have Shane right now in Hennessy, Chris Lee in Dover. Let's check in with Shane Helton if we can. Shane, watching this storm, I know there's a ton of rain that's coming down right now. We still have a tornado warning for northern Kingfisher County for another 8 minutes. Anything stand out that concerns you that you're seeing in the sky?
Damon, what we've been watching here for a little while, it's actually been about 10 minutes ago. We saw a lowering right near Bison, and that's I'm sure that's already past Bison now because what happened was we couldn't see due to the rain. The rain kind of got in the way, and we were having an extremely hard time seeing it. But when we were watching that on radar also, you could see that little inflow notch. Now, not saying it was going to do anything because it really didn't look like it was going to do much, but there was a little lowering there. Also, on the backside of these storms, there is strong winds, and it's a lot of it's like rear flank downdraft and things like that. But what we're getting, when I say strong winds, we're looking at 40 to 50 mile an hour. And if these storms are coming your way, you may want to be prepared for some wind like that. If you got things outside that need to be picked up or something like that that'll blow around, it's not just rain and hail and other things like that. You're going to have some wind once the storm actually is over the top of you and is almost past. So we're going to head south down here toward Lovell, and we're going to try and catch up on some storms to help Chris Lee down there, and we'll see what we can find out down there. And when we get down there, we'll give you a call. Damon, back to you.
All right, Shane, both you and Charlie be safe on this storm as it's moving up to northeast. A lot of traffic out there. The 5 o'clock drive home is now happening, and you have severe storms coming in here. This storm, still tornado warning until 5 o'clock. So let's go back. Let's zoom on out here because there's a lot happening now at 5 o'clock here in Oklahoma. Severe thunderstorm down to the southwest now by Apache and Chickasha. The storm is rotating up high, and so Buck is on this storm. I want to check in with Buck because right now, Buck, your storm that you're on right now, north of Apache, we're seeing this rotation in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. This storm, it's clustered, but it's in a unique part of the state where we haven't had storms yet. So there's still a lot of instability here to tap into, Buck. How does it look from your vantage point?
Yeah, Damon, thinking exactly what you just said is these storms are down here and they've not entered an area where there's been any interference with the stability. Getting bigger and bigger as we sit out here south of El Reno and just kind of watch these towers go up, and there's nothing capping them at the top. They're continuing to increase in size, and that concerns me for the metro as they move that direction. Back to you.
Yeah, it certainly does. And so while things are okay in OKC for now, these are the storms to watch, especially right now. They're still in their early stage. Let's go back over to the radar, show you exactly what we're looking at here. With this cell, Surreal Cement moving up to the northeast. So Cement at 504, down the Chickasha at 531. This storm is rotating a bit up high, but we can see it right now over Apache. And so south of Broxton, as you make way in just north of Lawton here, but this would move up to the northeast, making its way up the turnpike. Let's go over to WSI if we can real quick, because we've had a bunch happen in the last couple of seconds with our tornado watch. So, okay, tornado watch has been trimmed for our western row of counties, so that was Woodward, as you make way down towards just west of Clinton. But we've added a few more counties to the tornado watch now to account for these storms that are now going up over Comanche County. So Comanche County, Stevens County, you're included in this. Grady, McLean County, as you make way down towards around Purcell as well, you're included in this tornado watch until 10 o'clock. Okay, let's go back over to the radar. It is currently 5 o'clock. There's a lot happening right now, and really this day is setting up to be one of the higher end days that we have seen so far. First, we have this entire line of storms that's just going right down from essentially the Kansas-Oklahoma border all the way down to I-40, and then now more storms are going up south of I-40. So let's walk our way down through here. Let's check back in with Michael Armstrong just east of Enid in this tornado warning that goes until 5:15. Storm is still rotating now east of the airport, north of Fairmont. Michael, we see you on 412. How do things look?
Don't leave yet, but be ready. Yeah, Damon, I'm watching rotation right out my passenger side right now. This is just south of 412. I'm watching to see if that's an actual funnel. There is definitely rotation in the cloud base, both behind me, right in this area right here. This is really straight down 412, getting ready to cross the road. And then there's also an area that's spinning right there as well. And you can see that it has a funnel-like appearance as well. I can tell you that all of that is spinning. Watching very closely along the ground in the rain to see if there's any type of spin up on the ground. Kyle, let's go ahead and go now, and I'll keep watching.
Okay, yeah, we're so we can see it, and it's right here on top of your television screen. This is still tornado warned near Fairmont. Enid, you're okay from the tornadic standpoint. Storm is now east of you. Let's go back over to the radar, show everyone at home what Michael is seeing. And so it's this area right here. Enid, you're no longer in a tornado warning. Vance Air Force Base, no longer in a tornado warning, but this storm is still moving to the east. Garfield County until 5:15 from Fairmont and eventually towards Perry as you make way into northern Oklahoma. Remember, this was the zone, the area that we were watching closely today for some strong tornadoes. Another area of spin is going to be down by Hennessy with that tornado warning cell that we see where Shane Helton is located. Also, strong straight line winds happening up in northern Oklahoma. So all of these warnings that we have right now, these are all higher end warnings where we're talking about wind 70 to 80, hail ping pong the baseballs, big hail, and the threat's going to continue just to get higher and higher and higher. Right now, this is springtime in Oklahoma, and we're going to be here for a while, just so you know. Hennessy to Dover, storms, southwest of Marshall, moving up to northeast. Area of rotation would be right over 81, but it's rain-wrapped, so Shane Helton's right there. Let's check in with Shane. Shane, you're still in this tornado warning for at least another minute or so. Shane, anything stand out in front of you?
Yeah, Damon, a moment ago I could see what looked like a little lowering. It wasn't very impressive. It's already got covered in the rain, though. But as we chase after this, I'm sure we'll be able to see it here in just a minute. The storms are moving fairly quickly. So every time we start to get caught up to it and get up there where we can see it real well, we have to go north or south because the road ends or something, and you gotta get right back in front of it again. So that's just part of it. You know, when we're out here going after these storms, we've really got to push real hard to stay in front of them. And right now, it's what happened is we got the rain has come up around in front of us again, but we could see a lowering. It did not have any rotation that we could tell, but we're going to catch right back up to it and find out what it's doing. Damon, back to you.
All right, so just so you know, Shane, Charlie, this tornado warning is now expired. So just a heads up, it's been dropped. Down to Kingfisher right now. Storms are coming in. As a matter of fact, let's check in with Chris Lee because we have a lot happening right now. But this storm that Chris Lee is on is warned on. Wow, moving up to the east at 55 miles per hour and golf ball size hail. Talking about some incredible storm speed here. These storms, they are fast moving. 55 miles per hour. So here's Nick right now in Crescent. Here is Chris Lee right now in Kingfisher. There's Sky 5. Let's check in with Chris Lee right now. Chris, storms coming in. The Kingfisher has some very strong winds. Give us an update, Chris, with what's happening in town.
Yeah, not seeing those winds. It's just beginning to rain here in downtown Kingfisher. Kind of look off to the west here now that we're clear of some of the buildings. You can see that storm off to our west. Have seen some lowered areas from time to time between each of these cells, Damon. There are some inflow areas. Obviously, that's where the storm is breathing, bringing in the air, and areas we have to watch to make sure there isn't any rotation. But it's just now coming into the town of Kingfisher, starting to see some stronger winds and very heavy rain. I haven't seen any hail with it yet, but it should be coming right over downtown here in the next couple minutes, Damon.
Okay, yeah, watching this one again in the town of Kingfisher, and this storm is moving fast, so it's going to come in quickly. It's also going to leave pretty quickly as well. 55-mile-per-hour winds. That is some incredible storm speed here. So here we are in Kingfisher right now. Again, this storm is warned on for ping pong ball size hail, but Okarche at 503, Cashin 516, Cedar Valley 520, Guthrie 528, Deer Creek High School here in the metro at 530, Oak Tree National 535. With this storm at that current track, 55 miles per hour. That is some incredible storm speed as this continues to move to the east. So we're watching a lot happening now across really all of central Oklahoma. Storms up in northern Oklahoma. Here's your hail core northwest of Calumet, and then storms now going up down to the southwest, down by Apache and north of Lawton. So we're going to see a lot happening here. There's already a lot happening here, but we're about to really just kind of step on the gas here when it comes to storms beginning to strengthen even more so. And from Cyril, west of Ninnekah, southwest of Chickasha, this storm moving up to the northeast. And because this is kind of all by itself, this will likely, let's see here, speed 40 miles per hour. So moving at 40 with winds of 60 and ping pong ball size hail. So that brings it into Verdon here at 519, Chickasha 526, Amber 536, Bridge Creek 550, Blanchard 551, Mustang 6 o'clock, Goldsby, Wheatland, Norman right after 6 o'clock as well. All of these communities right here, while this storm is not tornado warned, should this storm become tornado warned, this is when it would arrive. This is when it would move in here. So we're talking about less than an hour from now. I know the PM commute, it's always hectic, even when there's no weather happening. When you put weather in there, though, all of a sudden things feel like they just get a little bit crazier as well. So if you know someone that usually leaves their office at 6 o'clock and they're making their way south of the metro, hang tight. Absolutely hang tight, because this storm very well could be one that's probably going to continue to strengthen as it moves up to the northeast. This is the storm that Buck is on. Up the road we go, still watching the storms that are now west of Calumet, west of the metro. Still severe warn from Okarche as we go down towards Geary and Calumet. Here's your hail core with it. Some signs of rotation. We'll watch it. Let's go back up east of Enid, where Michael is located right now. Get an update on this storm that we have right now in eastern Garfield County. Michael, the only tornado warning that we have currently in the state, this is it right here, eastern Garfield County. How does it look from where you are?
Yeah, you're looking at it, Damon. So this is an arc here, and this is what we were talking about, how this is a hybrid cell where there are lowerings all along it right now, but there's not anything in contact with the ground visually, not visibly, like a condensation funnel where you see the classic, Wizard of Oz type of tornado. We're not seeing anything like that. Not saying that there couldn't be something perhaps in contact with the ground. It doesn't look quite as tight in the velocities as what it did earlier when it was very near Enid on the south side of Enid. I know they had some winds estimated over 60 there on the south side of Enid as well. But this is more of a broad circulation, as you can see. I'm not saying it shouldn't be tornado warned. It's just that I don't visually see one in contact with the ground, and I haven't seen one the whole time.
Yeah, it does appear that at least the circulation is just a little bit more broad, not nearly as tight as what we saw even a couple moments ago. That is good. That is what we want to see. Now, it's not over yet. But this can happen where it kind of goes through these phases where it goes up and down, up and down. So right now, again, we're east of Enid. Enid you're doing all right here. Right now, Michael's watching this area of spin as you make your way just north of Covington, southwest of Garber. Some pretty strong winds are probably wrapping around the storm, as Jonathan is highlighting here, right over Fairmont. That would be some strong, powerful straight line winds making its way towards Covington as we speak. Current track to the east, we go to the Perry Airport at 538, Red Rock at 548, Bill's Corner 558, Sooner Lake, White Eagle, and Morrison shortly after 6 o'clock, with this storm moving to the east. Let's check on the storm that, let's see here. Let's look up where Derek is, just north of Billings, up east of Salt Fork and west of Tonkawa, where if you're in Ponca City right now, so Ponca, technically you're not in the warning, but we are watching some powerful straight line winds right now just southeast of Lamont. Here's your powerful wind. That's going to be about 70-mile-an-hour winds east of Salt Fork, just west of Tonkawa. These storms moving pretty quickly to the east at about 40, makes its way into Tonkawa at 521, Ponca City 540, High School 541, and then Kildare at 546, and Caw City shortly after 6 o'clock. Once again, this is not tornado warning, but some strong winds in that very well could do damage of what would resemble that of a tornado when you're looking at winds in that 70 to 80 mile per hour range. So that's what we're watching closely with this as it continues to move to the east. And again, technically Ponca City not in a warning yet. Be ready though for at least a severe thunderstorm warning to be issued. Perry, looking into the western sky, watching these storms for you. Let's check in with Derek Klein right now, who is currently in Billings. Derek, watching these storms closely for you. Derek, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, Damon, we finally have gotten out in front of the storm, so now we can kind of see a little bit of the structure. You can definitely see the outflow of the storm, which is a good thing. That keeps the tornado threat much lower. Doesn't mean you can't have a tornado, but it does keep it much lower. So you can see the dark cloud with the lightness behind it in my shot, and that's the wind will be right in that location. But it should be a west to east wind, which will be favorable for, again, keeping the tornado threat a little bit low. But there are some gusty winds in there. We encountered winds in the 45 to 50 mile per hour range as we went through that. But I do believe there's some heavier, stronger winds just to our north. And so we're going to reposition ourselves to be out in front of this over towards Tonkawa so we can be in front of those higher winds as they move towards town. Back to you, David.
Yeah, and speaking of winds, let's go back over to the radar right now, because behind these storms, we are getting some incredible winds that are coming in on the backside of the storm system. They're not associated with any thunderstorms. They're just strong winds, well over 50 miles per hour. We see them out across northwestern Oklahoma right now. We also see them right now even going into Canadian County. Canadian County, not many storms right now in the area. They're all just north of you, barely, as you can see north of Concho and Calumet. But there are some powerful winds right now that are making their way from El Reno down to the southwest. Jonathan, you're watching closely between Geary and Calumet. What stands out to you on the southern line?
Damon, I always get a little bit nervous with the southern storm. Obviously, these storms are lining out. So when they line out, that means they struggle for inflow. So imagine it's a line of embedded supercells, and they're all fighting each other for the stronger instability and fuel to run in. And so, like Michael said up at the warning that we had just south of Enid, that's kind of a hybrid storm. It was a circulation. We caught it on radar. Michael was right there, perfect position. He couldn't be in a better position. Right there, if it dropped something, you'd see it. But so now what we're seeing is this is kind of lining out, and I'm just a little bit, I always, watch the southern storm. That's an old storm chaser in me used to do that. Tail and Charlie, southern storm. Sky 5 is right there. Chris Lee is coming down to the south. We're going to have to watch what this is going to do. The winds right now are very conducive for low-level shear. One thing we're seeing over Canadian County, not even tied to the thunderstorms, you have south winds right now gusting about 45 miles an hour. So something called a meso low. There's an area low pressure deepening over Canadian County, Blaine County. The winds over Canadian County are being pulled into these storms. Sky 5's fighting that headwind right now. So you have deep low pressure, you have strong winds, they're out of the south, and we're just going to have to watch what the southern storm is going to do. So occasionally what you'll see me do on radar, you'll see me kind of go down the south, kind of look at that storm. Sky 5 has been flying down to the south, looking at, this is called the flanking line. So he's looking for that southern cell. Is it rotating? Occasionally you saw like a rain-free base, but we didn't see any wall clouds coming out of it, which is good for now. But you know what? It hit 80 degrees in OKC. We have high winds. We have high shear. Do not turn your back on the Calumet storm. Calumet to Kingfisher, that tail end, Charlie, it can happen really fast. Again, it can cycle and start to rotate pretty hard. Chris Lee is right there, but that storm right there, the Anadarko surreal storm, that's coming up the turnpike. Got to watch it. Buck is on it. Sky 5 repositioning to get on that storm, because even if the Calumet storm starts rotating, that will hit maybe the north side of the metro. But it's kind of like bowling, or kind of like Plinko. You look downstream and where is this storm going to go? Probably just like that. That is the highest probability of hitting OKC. That is a storm to watch. It's getting taller. It's getting stronger. Hail is getting bigger. So that's a storm OKC really has to watch here in about an hour or two.
Jonathan, and let's stay with this image right here, because what happens and what's going to happen is this storm down here, as you just highlighted, will move up the turnpike. These storms that are west and northwest of Oklahoma City are going to come in as well. So if you're watching in Oklahoma City right now, or in the metro, surrounding cities, this is for you. These storms are going to meet up right over the metro. When that happens, it reminds me a lot of a storm that we had a couple years ago, and they typically produce some extremely powerful winds. We could be looking at winds up to 80 miles per hour on parts of the metro when these storms decide to meet up, and they're doing it. You have this storm that's moving up to northeast, these storms moving to the east-southeast. They will collide over Oklahoma City. You can get some extremely heavy rain out of it, and you could also get some powerful winds too. So just a heads up, right now, 5:12, watching closely for power outages, but look at your cell phone right now. If you don't have a lot of power, a lot of battery life in there, you have about an hour before at least the threat of power outages begins to move in. Okay, let's go back up. By the way, the tornado warning for Garfield County, still there, although it does appear that it's probably going to be dropped here. Well, not anymore. It looks like at least it's kind of picked up a bit here with its rotation. Looked like about a couple minutes ago it was kind of coming down. Let's check back in with Michael. Michael, looks like your storm is cycling right now. It's kind of going back and forth. Looks like the couplet looks a little bit better than it did a few minutes ago. Michael, how does it look from your vantage point?
Well, yeah, I noticed the tornado vortex signature popping back up with this storm again, but the base actually, when I had the more of a kind of really strong rotation back there along 412 that was just to my south, and I was looking at the funnel, I don't see those as much now, Damon. Just visually, again, we got to be really careful here with these storms, because man, they're really tough to spot when they're these hybrid cells. I've done it a lot, and I've just learned to kind of be careful with it, because you gotta watch really close in case a funnel does start to kind of extend downward. But you can see, like right there in my shot, it's just really ragged looking. There's a lot of little fingers that are hanging down. So a lot of times those will get reported as funnels when they're really not necessarily. It's just there's shear, there's rotation all along that entire base, but it doesn't necessarily mean that any one of them is a funnel and getting ready to make a tornado, though. But yeah, there is an area that's right along 412, straight behind me right now, right in this area that does have some spin again. And I think that this storm is just going to keep doing this over and over and over again as it tracks to the east. It's already shown what it's been doing south of Enid, and it just keeps doing that all the way as it's coming up here on I-35.
Yeah, we're watching these storms, and Michael out near Billings right now, watching this area of inflow and this area of rotation right along the leading edge. Still tornado warned until 5:15. One thing that we're watching, and let's go down to Canadian County, because ahead of this storm system, and the same thing for Oklahoma and Cleveland County as well, we are getting some incredible winds that are not associated with the thunderstorm, but you have this low that's developing right now. And so we have winds right now up around 50 miles per hour that are just being pulled into these storms. The low level rotation and the amount of energy that's just being fueled into these storms is really coming up. You can see the area of rotation, radar is picking up just east of Geary. Big hail, it's about the size of a lime, 2-inch size hail. And then between Geary and Calumet, that area right here, right along 270, that looks to be our next our next storm that's rotating right here just east of Geary. Watching that one. As a matter of fact, we have Chrisley and Okarche right now. Big hail just west of him. And this is what we were saying. As you go farther down the line, these storms begin to kind of pick up kind of some untapped intensity. And so this storm right now from Calumet, as you make way towards Okarche, this will be our next warning, I do believe. As you can see here, rightfully so. Look at that hail core that is just west of Okarche. And then here's your area of rotation near Geary. So there's Nick Smith right now in Crescent. Wow, that thing is beginning to spin. It's rotating right now. Let's check back in with Chris Lee. Chris Lee, you're west of Okarche. Another rotating storm near you. Chris, how's it look from your vantage point?
Yeah, we're looking at the inflow area. You can kind of see it. That's the area that's lighter off to the left. On the right side of your screen, the precipitation. That's very heavy, and there's, golf balls in there. We're watching the area to the left. I'm not seeing any kind of lowerings or anything like that, but that's where that area would form. So we're kind of watching that as that comes up towards the Okarche area. But not seeing anything, and about to get run over by the precipitation. As I said, we are 1 mile south and 1 mile west of the town of Okarche.
So brand new warning has just been issued, and this one does include up into northwestern Oklahoma County. So the entire line is warned, but the warnings are pretty much going to be embedded within this line. But as of right now, this is the most intense part of the storm north of Calumet. Right now, our radar is sampling some pretty large hail up aloft, and then it's melting a bit as it falls down to the ground. Chris Lee is going to tell us how big the hail is, but here's your hail core north of Calumet, just west of Okarche. Inflow, you can see these notches right here. That's the winds, and these are some extremely powerful winds, gusting over 50 miles per hour. If you're in El Reno, if you're in Yukon, go outside. You can feel the winds that are just getting pulled into this storm right now. Extremely powerful. And so that is going to allow this storm to increase. Edmund, you're included in this warning, by the way. And so right now, again, this entire line is warned on, and we're likely just going to keep watching storms build down to the south until it shakes hands, until it meets up with the storm that's going to be down by Apache. Right now, at this hour, 5:18, we do not have any tornado warnings, but does not mean that at least our threat for tornadoes cannot quickly return with these storms as they continue to move up to the northeast here. Still watching it closely, but putting a track on that hail core. Okarche 523, Deer Creek High School, and this is in Oklahoma County, the metro, 550. Cimarron City, 555. Navina, 556. Oak Tree National at 6 o'clock. Mitch Park at 6 o'clock. Seward, Waterloo, Lakeview right after 6. Guthrie at 6:08. And Arcadia, 6:13. All of these towns right here. What do you need to know? While it's not tornado warned yet, the way that these storms have been going is that these southern storms tend to be the ones that get tornado warned. And so be prepared for this storm to become tornado warned. And when it moves in, here's your time right here. It is dropping some big hail as we speak. Right now it is 5:19 on this Monday afternoon. And again, this storm moving to the east, northeast. We have Nick right now in Cashin. We have Chris Lee and Okarche. Sky 5 down to the south, picking up the storm that is currently spinning a bit, not tornado warned, but is going to be southwest of Chickasha. We have Buck on that storm. That storm is getting stronger and stronger as well. Wow. Here's your inflow right there, just on the west side of Cement, north of Cyril. These storms by themselves are never good. Don't like this. Let's check in with Buck if we can. Buck, you're on this isolated supercell. We always talk about isolated supercells are the ones that certainly concern us the most. What do you see from your vantage point, Buck?
Now, Damon, it's pretty hard in Chickasha to find a flat area to get a good view of this storm, but we've got what we feel like is the best view. It looks like it's going to come right towards us, and there was a spotter report earlier of a $50 size hail embedded in this storm, and we can see it on radar that possibility does exist. It appears that there might be a little spin with this on radar. Are you seeing the same thing?
Okay, Buck, your storm is coming up right in your direction, so you're in a good spot, Buck, by the way. Again, stay safe with this one, but you can see that area of rotation. Put the radar back up. Again, the storm is rotating, and there's a reason why the tornado watch was extended down to the south, and it's because of this storm right here. It's not a very tight couplet, but it is rotating between Sorrel and Cement, just on the north side of the turnpike. But Buck, it's headed in your direction. You're going to get the hail side of it first. There's a hail just west of Laverty, south of Verdon, moving up to the northeast, and then coming into the southwest side to the metro, right around 6:15 to 6:20 with that cell, again, moving up to the northeast. So right now, severe thunderstorm warning. This is warned on for 60-mile-per-hour winds, and I do believe this is going to be ping-pong ball-size hail. That warning expires technically in just a few minutes. Feel pretty confident that it will be extended farther downstream and will likely include Amber, Tuttle, and Bridge Creek. You can see the boundaries here colliding, by the way, right over Eakley. And look, if you're in Canadian County, northern Grady County, northern McLean County, I know it is incredibly windy, even out across the west. The wind gusts that we have coming in that are not associated with the thunderstorms, they're loud. We're talking about 50-mile-an-hour winds. That right there is plenty of fuel to keep these storms rotating. And so now coming in very close to El Reno as well. This storm, let's go back into let's check in with Michael Armstrong. He's going to be a bit up to the north. I know this entire line is warned on here. Michael's north of Perry. Michael, watching your storm closely. Big warning right now. See a bit of rotation there. Some strong winds, actually, just east of Covington. Probably up to 60, 70-mile-an-hour winds. Michael, how's it look from where you are?
Yeah, Damon, I think we're going to see basically a lot of strong straight line winds with these. There could be some embedded, what we call mesovortices. And what that means is it's not necessarily a tornado, but there is some rotation in the storm, and that enhances the damaging winds down at the surface. And I think we're going to see at least the potential for that up and down this line in pockets. Not everybody's going to see damage. I think it's important that we stress that. If you're looking at this and you're scared and you know you're hearing us talk about that, not everyone is going to see damaging winds with this. So it kind of comes in pockets. We'll be tracking those pockets of stronger wind very closely for you as these storms move in. I am a little bit more concerned right now, Damon. We're going to be dropping south down toward the Guthrie and Edmond area. The areas up north, I'm showing you what they look like. Again, just kind of broad lowerings. But I'm more concerned about that storm near Okarche. It's got larger size hail. It looks like it's getting some better inflow. And if you think about it this way, it's not the southernmost storm, because that's the one that's down by Chickasha that Buck's on. But it is tail end Charlie, or the southernmost part of this line of storms. And that's why I'm concerned about that particular storm moving in toward Guthrie and Edmond here eventually. So I would say north sides of the metro really need to pay close attention here, as well as the southwest side eventually with that other supercell that's down south that's coming up. That's what I'm seeing from my end.
And definitely a lot of these storms are just going to have this powerful wind threat, whether it's tornadic or straight line, it's wind. And you can get some tornadic damage that resembles a lot like tornado, looks a lot like tornado damage. But these storms are going to collide over Oklahoma City within the hour. And when that happens, you tend to get some real powerful winds that come in here. Chris Lee, near Okarche, big hail core. We're still sampling some pretty large hail up in this storm. Chris Lee, let's go out to Chris right now, because Chris, your storm that you're on right here is one of the strongest ones in the state. How's it look from your vantage point, Chris?
Yeah, we are trying to stay out of that hail, to be honest with you. We dropped south out of Okarche. We're just north of Concho a few miles, so we're kind of watching off to our north and to our southwest. Okay, there was a pretty good hail stone. I'm not seeing any falling. Just heard one sounded, I don't know, fairly large. I'm going to say quarter size or not seeing anything. But the hail is still off to our west end behind us, so we're trying to keep an eye on this inflow area that you're seeing off to our southwest. And it's going to be coming across, looks like south of the Okarche area.
Okay, Chris Lee, your storm, and by the way, the storm that Chris Lee is on right now is the one that would impact those of us in northern Oklahoma County going up in towards Edmond, Piedmont, northeastern Canadian County. There's some big hail in this as well right now from Okarche down to Concho. Let's go down to the south because this new warning that we have that's going to be for the Apache cell, notice how it's a bit more of a right turner. We could very well be looking at a pretty large hail threat. And so right now, if you're watching us in Norman, in Moore, in Dibble, Cole, Blanchard to Newcastle, this storm is the one that's going to likely impact us, and it could have some very large hail with it as it comes into south sides of the metro and going into Grady and Cleveland County. So listen up, south sides of the metro, this is the storm that we're watching closely for. Tornado warning coming for this storm? Yes. Okay, Buck. Let's go out to Buck right now. Buck, tornado warning now issued or is coming for this storm. This is going to be a big storm. It's all by itself. These are the storms that we do not like to see because they're isolated. Buck, tornado warning on your cell. Give us an update, Buck, with what you're seeing.
Yeah, Damon, this continues to intensify, and the spin is continuing to increase the whole storm itself. We think there's some ping pong ball size hail to our southwest, and that would be in the direction between Cement and Chickasha. That's also where they just put the TVS out on this storm, is just north of Cement. So if you're in Cement or in that line between Cement and Chickasha, maybe Ninnekah, you are in the direct line of this storm and need to pay close attention to it. Back to you.
Okay, so tornado warning, this is for Caddo and Grady County, and this is where the storm is going to be located. Buck is on this right now, and so let's go back to the radar right here. So here's the storm, and again, it's going to pop up here in just a moment, the polygon will, but that is where the area of spin is going to be, right near Cyril, south of Laverty, and then just west of Ninnekah. So there it is right here, red flashing polygon. And so not warned on is Cleveland County, so Moore and Norman, but we're watching this as it continues to move out to the northeast, and it is still all by itself. These are the storms that really concern us when they're isolated supercells because they pretty much can use all the instability that's surrounding them. That's exactly what this storm is doing. So Ninnekah 547, Chickasha 552, Middleburg at 613. We go to Blanchard at 622, Kreiner at 624, Washington at 635 with this storm that's moving up to the northeast here. And so there is Buck and Chickasha right now. But once again, tornado warning just issued. Also golf ball size hail with this storm as it continues to move up to the northeast. No warnings yet for Norman, Goolsby, Washington, or Moore, but be ready. Right now it's 5:20, and so looking downstream, this will be coming into the Moore and Norman area by about little after 6:15 or so. Right now, that area of rotation is right over Cyril and Cement, moving up to the northeast, and you can see it right there, right along the turnpike. And so this is coming into Grady County. Jonathan, these are the storms that we don't like when they're all by themselves. But here we are, and certainly this severe weather threat that we're watching right now, Jonathan, this is going to go on for hours. We have not really peaked yet.
That's right, Damon. Very concerned about this storm. Again, the metro, we have two threats. Obviously, the storm west of El Reno will hit the north metro. That is a supercell embedded in the tail end of the line that does have a tornado risk with it, even though it's not tornado warned right now. But this is kind of the worst case scenario. How many times have we seen this? Storms go up on the dry line, down to Chickasha, they come up the turnpike, and then as they move down up to the northeast, I mean, they're just moving in through a really warm environment. Our winds, so that's a huge part of the component. Our surface winds are out of the south, and a lot of times to have tornadoes to form, sometimes the key component, not necessarily how fast jet streams are aloft, but what the low-level jet stream winds are doing. And we have that in place. So very concerned about this storm. No official reports. This is radar indicated tornado warning right now, and I absolutely understand why that has been issued. The couplet is very, very strong. It's east of Cyril, south of Cement. If this storm turns hard right, the area rotation will pass, probably south of Chickasha, okay? So probably passing south of Chickasha. But Chickasha, you're probably going to get hammered with some pretty big hail. With the storm track, again, moving northeast, and here's the deal. We have it moving northeast right now at about 30. That would eventually bring it into maybe Newcastle more and Norman. But then if it turns hard right, a lot of times when these storms get really tall, instead of being pushed to the northeast by the low-level winds, as you know, like a mast in a sail, as they get a little bit taller, they get caught, and then when the mezzo really gets anchored, the storms turn hard right. So you're going to look for the storm track to change directions instead of to the northeast, turning hard right. And a lot of times when they do that, that's a big indicator too that it's either producing a tornado or getting close to producing a tornado. So we're just going to have to kind of watch that. But right now, 2 threats for the metro, west of the metro, out near El Reno, tail end Charlie, and then the lone supercell coming up out of Chickasha. And again, there's nothing obstructing it down to the south, Damon.
Yeah, nothing at all. And so this certainly has a potential to be a really bad storm for those of us that are anywhere from Blanchard to Dibble down to Alec, Chickasha right now. The circulation's on the backside of this out by Laverty, but it's also dropping some big hail. So as these two systems collide right over the metro, we're talking about a pretty big wind threat that we have right now that is going to be southwest of Ninnekah, right over the turnpike. We're northeast of Elgin, south of Laverty, but that is where the rotation is, right over the turnpike, right over Cement. You can see it right here on the turnpike here. This is going to be east of Cyril and again west of Ninnekah. And we knew that this was likely going to happen as the storm all by itself continues to move a little bit more to the east. So looking downstream outside of the tornado warning polygon that we have here for the Norman area around 6:15, 6:30 will be the zone to watch. Same thing for Cleveland County out towards Moore, south sides of the metro. Big hail as well. Big hail could certainly be a factor in this. So here you go. Updated storm time of arrival, Goldsby 6:28, Riverwind Casino 6:30, and then down at OU at 6:34. Here's your area of spin south of Cement. As you can see right here, that is a tightening couplet right here on the radar. Again, the risk here certainly for strong winds, tornadic winds, and some very large hail continues to increase for Grady County, southern Grady County, with that storm moving up to the northeast. We're going to check back in with that storm. We'll go back up to the north here, go out across Canadian County, look into those that are going to be watching the storms going up now west of El Reno. As these storms are going up, they continue to build farther down to the south. And eventually we're going to see these storms kind of meet up. Both that supercell down to the south and this one right here. Rotation along this continues. Big hail, couple it of some strong winds east of Okarche. Let's check in with Chris Lee just north of El Reno. If you're in Oklahoma County right now, or even in northeastern Canadian County, storm's dropping some big hail. The warning that just alerted your phones, this is it right here. Big hail. Chris Lee is on it. Moving to the east. Chris, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, very large hail off to our west. The storm's dropping. Appears to be dropping just a little south of due east as it comes towards Highway 81. We're just south of the Lucky Star Casino. We're kind of watching this area right here. This is the inflow area where the any kind of rotation would form. As you can see, we've got rain curtains. Those are that dark area of rain is kind of moving from right to left. That would be from north to south. So that's the movement of the precipitation, the hail and the rain moving towards. We're just north of the town of El Reno. So we're kind of dropping south into El Reno and watching that area of the storm, and also got an eye on the storm to our south coming up toward these. Both of these are going to affect the metro in some way or another.
Yeah, certainly both of these storms are going to meet up over the metro. One's going to meet up on the north side of the metro. So right now, this storm, Richland, Surrey Hills, Sundance Airport, to the Greens, Lake Hefner, a bunch of metro communities here, Quail Creek at 6:08, the Village at 6:10, and then we go into the town of Britain at 6:12. So this storm, big hail, strong winds right here just east of Okarche. That is what this storm is going to do. We have Chris out by Concho and Nick Smith right now. He's going to be just coming in on the west side of Edmond as you make way in the northwestern Oklahoma County. So This storm is quite significant as it continues to move to the east, and there is some big hail that is going to be located within this cell. So that is the story for this. North sides of the metro. South sides of the metro, still watching the area of circulation. Tornado warning that is going to be currently down in southern Grady County. That is a big storm as well. So here's a track with this storm moving to the east. Let's go back down into Grady County, where we have Buck right now, and Buck watching that storm. Again, that is a tornado warning. This storm is certainly rather powerful. That is going to be near Ninnekah. Area of circulation near Laverty, east of Cement. There it is, right over the turnpike, about 1-2 miles east of Cement, and then just a few miles west of Ninnekah. And so the way that this storm is setting up here is that here's the hail over Chickasha and going out towards Tabler and Ninnekah. And then here's your area of rotation that is going to be just east of Cement. Moving to the east, Middleburg at 627, Blanchard 638, Washington 654, and then Norman, Goldsby down to Purcell at about 7 to 708. This storm is the only tornado warning that we have right now. So, but rightfully so, isolated supercell, and this storm, it is a big one. It is really, really tall, and certainly is extremely powerful as well. Also warned on, I do believe, for ping pong ball size hail as it continues to move up to the northeast right now. So right now, current warning, the current language with this, moving to the east at 25 and ping pong ball size hail, it is slowed down just a little bit. When these storms slow down, that is never good. That means that it is strengthening, and will probably start turning a little bit more to the east. And so listen up for Goldsby, Washington, Lexington, Purcell, Kreiner, Dibble, Cole. That could certainly pose an increasing tornado threat with this storm. So right now, the tornado risk is increasing for Oklahoma City as both of these storms are moving in. One on the north side, one on the south side. Let's go back up to the north. Let's check in with towards Kay County, the very northern side of this line here, and I get the latest with this entire line of storms that's pretty much making its way down I-35. So big hail here towards Concho. We'll check in with Chris Lee in just a moment. Some strong winds right now coming in towards Piedmont. Flood warning also just issued with that as well. As you can see here, stretching all the way from Piedmont, big storms with that as well. New severe for the southern end of the line is now going to go up to the metro. Let's go all the way to Ponca City first. Let's just work our way down this line, because Ponca City has a warning as well that we need to address, where we have Derek Klein right now. Derek Klein, Ponca City in this severe thunderstorm warning. Derek, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, Damon, we've gotten out ahead of the line here, and so you can kind of see the shelf cloud. It's kind of weakened out up here. So it's not nearly as severe as it was, but definitely some moderate winds, I would say in the 40-mile-per-hour range, and some heavy rain, lots of cloud-to-ground lightning as well. But right now we're just kind of dropping south with the line here that heads towards different parts just east of I-35. So we'll continue to keep our eye on it. We'll let you know if it gets any worse. Back to you.
And that is for Ponca City. Again, storms coming in right now for Ponca City. These are not tornado warnings. These are severe thunderstorm warnings, but they do have some pretty powerful winds. So Ponca City comes in the next 10 minutes. Ponca City High School 548, Caw City 608, down towards Fairfax at 620 going into Osage County. That is the latest with this storm for Ponca City. Ponca, we're watching it closely for you. Down to Perry as well. Let's check in with Storm Command. Storm Command down by on I-35. Michael, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Okay, Damon, we are very near Mulhall right now. There is an area of a little bit of spin going on over here, and I want to show you just how angry this storm looks. I mean, it is really, look at that. I mean, look how low the bases are out in front of that storm. So it is still getting inflow into this storm, but it is linear though, and that's one thing about it. It is not an isolated supercell, but I'll tell you what, this is what folks on I-35, that's what they're staring down as they're moving north out of Guthrie to head up towards Stillwater or Ponca. That's what you're going to see. And if you don't know what you're looking at, it's going to be probably pretty terrifying. So we want to just remind folks, be very careful if you're out driving. Don't panic. But if you can, wait till these storms pass over top of I-35 so you don't have to end up driving in that as you're trying to make your way down the interstate. I mean, you're going to find blinding rainfall that's going to be coming directly at a crosswind. So it's going to be blowing across your vehicle, and it will become very difficult to be able to see the lanes on the road. It'll be tough, especially when you're around 18-wheelers. So I would say push pause if you have plans to drive north on I-35 from Oklahoma City up toward the Kansas-Oklahoma border, or if you're driving south from Ponca or Stillwater down toward Oklahoma City. Again, just press pause and wait for these storms to blow through if you possibly can. That way you don't have to put yourself at risk as these storms move in, because they are mean-looking, Damon.
They are absolutely mean-looking, whether they're tornadic, whether they're big winds, whether it's hail. These storms will have it all as they're coming in right now. Jonathan highlighting areas of rotation that we're picking up with our radar near Mulhall, near Crescent, and then west of Cashin. Shane's in Crescent right now. He's got a good eye on that one. Storm Command's near Mulhall, got a good eye on that one. Nick Smith has a good eye on this one right here that is going to be west of Cashin. For a lot of us in western sides of the metro, I know our phones just went off. We got some big hail coming in and some extremely strong winds as well with these storms coming in up to 2-inch size, about the size of a lime. So we're now getting bigger than golf ball. And the next step up from golf ball is, I call it lime-size hail. And there it is right here, south of Okarche, big winds as well. Sky 5 and Tuttle right now also headed down to the tornado warning storm. But these are pretty much going to meet up in Oklahoma City right now. And so putting a track on this storm, El Reno 545, Sundance Airport 552, Surrey Hills 553, Yukon about 6, Wiley Post, Lake Hefner, and Overholser shortly after 6 o'clock. Big hailstorm with this coming in. And so we'll talk to Nick Smith here in just a bit here. Nick's been all over the place, up to the north, back down to the south, watching this closely for you here in the metro. Sky 5 watching the tornado warning, as well as Buck down in southern Grady County with these storms coming in. Nick, good afternoon. Nick, I know you've been driving up and down the state here, but Nick, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, Damon, I am on the Kilpatrick right now, and I can see off to my, it's actually off to my west. I can see some areas that are, it's just the front edge of that whole storm system that's coming, and I can actually see a few areas where there is a clear area, which would be kind of like that rain-free base. At one point we could kind of see where that rotation was showing up on radar, but we're not able to see if those rain curtains are actually rotating. But we can see that it's not too close to the ground right now, so I wouldn't say we need to worry about that. But I do know that there's a lot of hail with that. The sky is a little bit of that bluish greenish, so we do know that there is some hail back in there. Back to you.
There's definitely some hail back in there and some very powerful winds for Piedmont as well. So here's the latest. Let's go to velocity. Here we are. These are 60-mile-an-hour winds that are coming right into Piedmont as we speak. So Piedmont, get away from your western windows. If you're in Piedmont right now, pocket of some pretty strong winds coming in now on the western side of town. It's going to keep blowing to the east. And so that's headed into Edmond very soon as well. So some pretty powerful winds and some large hail. I know you're looking at this, you're like, Damon, there's so much going on right now. I see green flashing lines. I see yellow flashing lines. I see red flashing lines. What do I need to know? Severe storms right now for the metro. Up to 2-inch size hail, winds of 60 miles per hour. Those are right here, east of Concho, west of Piedmont. As you go down into southern Canadian County. Where Buck is, that is a tornado warning that we have, and the sirens are sounding in Chickasha right now for this storm. Let's zoom in, look at that area of rotation. Let's go out to Buck. Buck, we see just north of Ninnekah. How's the storm look from where you are?
Yeah, Damon, we're almost directly under the circulation, and it's spinning. It's pretty broad. There's nothing I see in it that's real tight. We haven't seen any real significant lowerings coming out of the base yet. However, we are right here. If it happens, we're going to see it. So I definitely need to take precautions if you're in the path of this storm. We did drive through some pea-sized hail, but that was about as big as it got. And that was just a little bit north of Ninnekah. And so we're sitting here underneath the base of this storm, and we'll let you know if we see anything that becomes concerning.
Yeah, and so the tornado warning still remains in place for that storm that you are on, Buck. And so small hail, there'd be some slightly larger hail kind of wrapped up inside the storm. Still warned on for golf ball size hail, and that would be just south of Chickasha. There's your couplet right there, just on about half a mile east of the turnpike, west of Ninnekah. Update here. So cement no longer in the warning, but where Buck is, you can see on the left-hand side of your television screen, he's looking right into this storm. And right now, again, the rotation is still rather strong with this storm as it continues to move up to the northeast. You can see the area of rotation very close to Ninnekah, right over. So putting a storm track up to the northeast. Middleburg at 614, Dibble 621, Blanchard at 623, Washington at 638, Riverwind Casino. Now we're getting close to the Norman area at about 642 with this storm moving to the east. We'll go back down to this storm in just a moment. Jonathan, let's go up to your hometown here in Piedmont, where tracking some strong winds that are coming in, certainly some very powerful winds as well. Jonathan, big winds and quite the storm. What do you see from where you are?
Well, Damon, one thing I'm watching really closely is any areas of rotation that are trying to form. I don't see anything that's definitive that says immediate tornado threat, but the southern part of this line, again, tail and Charlie, is moving into an environment which is conducive for low-level shear. So, down the line from Piedmont, just west of Surrey Hills, and then back down towards El Reno. So you're looking at the intensity part. So we're looking at basically the rain and the hail. Now I'm gonna switch over to velocity. We're gonna look for areas of rotation. I don't see anything that's really gate to gate. Yes, Piedmont, you got some pretty strong winds coming in, but I think these are straight line winds or damaging winds. They're not rotating. Watching that closely. Now I'm going to put the storm impact button on, and that's the hail sizes. So Piedmont, Surrey Hills, back down to Yukon, West Metro. Hail sizes have decreased a little bit, just down like a notch, okay? Maybe from golf balls down to ping pong, which is good, but remember these storms can cycle a little bit. So when it was back towards Concho, that's where I had the really big hail. We see the black on the storm impact, that's real bad. So we're watching this, but this storm's kind of moving a little bit more down to the southeast. So again, very significant storm, very strong. Hail, wind threat. By the way, if you look at the area highlighting that green blinking polygon, that's a flash flood warning. So from Kingfisher, Okarche, Concho, El Reno, some very heavy rains. Do not drive through any flooding. Flash flooding kills more people on an average year than tornadoes do. So don't drive into any flooding with that. But again, I'm very closely watching what's happening. I don't see anything definitive for rotation. But again, this can happen really quick where those mesocyclones start to spin up a little bit. Like there's a little area shear, like right there. These are straight line winds. Those aren't rotating. And we'll have to watch what's going on down here. But Nick is looking at the storm. Chris Lee is looking at the storm. Sky 5, even though we haven't heading south, he's been watching the storm from the distance. So again, no imminent tornado threat, but just watch what happens with this part of the storm down south. I mean, Damon, we got two storms merging on the metro. We're not that far out in the next hour from that happening.
Yeah, and where I feel like these two storms are going to meet up is going to be somewhere, I say, between Mustang, Moore, and Norman. You can see here this continues to backbuild down. And when that happens, you can see a tornado threat, but you can also get some extremely powerful straight line winds that can knock out power for a bit here. So Union City at about 6 o'clock, Mustang 621, Wheatland 628, Airport 630, OCCC to Newcastle 637 to 639, Paycom Center, downtown Oklahoma City at 642 with these storms coming in right now. Again, right now, severe thunderstorm warning, lime-size hail with this storm and some very powerful winds coming into Piedmont. Right now, that hail core is going to be running just right west of El Reno in western central parts of Canadian County. We have Chris Lee right here. He's going to be just east of this line here. And look along the entire leading edge. Just think there's spin with this storm on the leading edge, just in northwestern Oklahoma County. Powerful winds coming in with this right here. That right there, good find there, Jonathan, just east of El Reno, would be the zone to watch for these brief spin-up tornadoes. And whenever you see these type of setups coming into the metro, that's what I hate about them, is that they bounce all over the place. And with a lot more homes, a lot more areas to be impacted, this is where you begin to see the effects of these tornadoes, these brief spin-ups. And I want to emphasize, brief spin-up does not mean weak spin-up either. As we learned just a couple years ago in El Reno, it wasn't on the ground very long, but these can produce, at times, EF3 damage. So just a heads up, we're watching it scan by scan. There's so much happening right now. So we have Storm Command up in Guthrie, and as we build our way down into Piedmont, strong straight line winds coming in with this storm surging down to the southeast. Let's check in with Buck on the only tornado warning right now in the state. This is going to be in Grady County near Chickasha with this storm moving up to the northeast. Clear shot of what the backside of the storm is looking like, which is where the area of rotation is right now. Buck, anything concern you from where you are?
No, Damon, and actually the rotation has come down a little bit here. It's not nearly as organized as it was a few minutes ago, which is a good thing. It just almost looks like it's completely stopped rotating, but we're still right here under it. We're a little bit north of Minnetonka now. We're trying to stay out in front of it in case it does anything. We'll be right there to bring it back to you. Back to you.
Okay, be safe down there right now. Again, currently Buck is going to be down on the Chickasha storm. Let's go back up to Piedmont because I know there's some powerful winds that are coming in right now into the Piedmont area. This storm track, though, moving up to the northeast. We bring it towards Norman, Goldsby, and eventually in the south sides of the metro. Still most concerned about this southern storm here that's in Canadian County right now. That is going to be north of Coger. We have Chris Lee. Some winds right now. Let's go actually, there's some powerful winds. Bannard to Richland. Watching that. Also some surging winds coming through Piedmont right now, which those are going to quickly make their way right into Edmond, and probably here at the TV station very soon. We're about to get hit with some pretty strong winds, and even some strong winds just west of Oak Tree. This entire thing right here, entire line is going to have embedded circulations, some very powerful winds. Power outages are going to likely start climbing in the next couple of minutes. I feel pretty confident about that. Right now, 5:52. Storms now coming into northeastern Canadian County and coming into northwestern Oklahoma County with this storm. So Nick is currently in Yukon, putting a track like this to the southeast. By the way, this taken into account just the southern part of the storm, but it's going to meet up with the supercell down to the south. But Banner to Surrey Hills right before 6 o'clock. The Greens at 6:05. Lake Hefner 6:09. Bethany at 6:13 with this storm moving down to the southeast. Watching this one, we have Nick, we have Sky 5 and Chris Lee, Shane Helton up to the north as well. Up for Edmond right now. Edmond, we have this storm that's coming in right now, and you're in the warning. I know there's a lot happening right now. As a matter of fact, let's go up into the Edmond area if we can, because this storm, at least with our storm impact, we are seeing at least some surging winds here. They're not very strong, but we do see at least two couplets of winds right over Piedmont, and then one that's be west of Surrey Hills. Look, Edmond, I know you're saying, hey, what's happening with the storms coming in? Right now, you have winds around 40 to 50, but these are some powerful winds right here that are going to be just north of the airport, just west of Gaillardia, just on the east side of Piedmont here, and probably getting winds close to 60, 65 miles per hour. With that right there, just right along Northwest 164th Street, 70-mile-an-hour winds at Sarah and Morgan, 73-mile-an-hour winds. We knew that powerful winds like this were going to be a concern, and we're seeing it right there and then down by Richland as well. So big-time winds coming in with this storm that is going to impact those of us right just north of Overholser here, and this is moving right into northern sides of the metro. So big threat with this will be straight line winds that will likely knock out power. Winds are getting even stronger right now over Richland. Jonathan, what are these winds doing right here? Those are some incredible winds just in between Richland and El Reno, right along Britton Road. 77 mile per hour, 81 mile an hour winds. That's a strong pocket of winds. 70 to 80 plus mile an hour winds. That will knock out power, by the way. and that's moving down to the southeast, headed towards Bethany, the Village, the Outlet Mall. So pocket of winds, hail with this as well. Yukon High School 609, War Acre 618, Lake Hefner 620 with this pocket of just really powerful winds. Those right there are really, really concerning to me. When you see the blue there popping up, those are some incredible straight line winds. Don't like to see that at all. And then comes right here by the TV station about the next 30 minutes or so. That's not what you want to see for Richland north of Banner. As a matter of fact, let's check in with Nick Smith right now. Nick, big time winds now coming in with this storm. Our radar, Nick, is picking up winds in excess of 80 miles per hour. Nick, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Absolutely, Damon. This is absolutely, I mean, everything looks beautiful out here, but it does, it's pretty to look at, but it's going to pack a punch here in a minute. We have actually the front edge of this storm coming in, and you're seeing it, you're seeing like the line as you can see it in my shot right in the middle. I'm going to actually pan back, and you can see it all the way down the line. Back up here to the right, that's where you're talking about those 70 and 80 mile an hour winds are. Back up in here, that's towards the Piedmont and Surrey Hills area and coming back towards us. And then this is back off to the west. So we're just watching this little clear area just in case we saw one point in time, we saw what we thought was a little bit of a funnel, but it's just the rain curtains that were rotating. But we're watching this as these winds come in. We're going to position ourselves right over here as those winds come in. We're safe here in the truck. We're going to go ahead and be right by them, and we're going to see what they pack. Back to you.
Okay, so Nick Smith, again, he is watching this storm. Right now he's east of Yukon. This storm is packing some big-time winds. And just look at this right here. Those are some big winds near Richland, north of Banner. That is where these are high-end winds. These are not your 60-mile-an-hour winds, more like 80-mile-an-hour winds. And I've seen 80-mile-an-hour winds really do some significant damage here in the metro. So Richland, as you're just west of Surrey Hills, here are your big winds. So right now it is 6 o'clock. If you're just now getting home, what do you need to know? So tornado watch remains in effect. Brand new tornado warning, by the way, just issued. Let's go check in. We'll come back to the storm in just a second. But I know there's a few of us that our phones are just now going off and saying, look, tornado warning, my phone just went off. Look at the new direction with this. This is taking into a strengthening supercell. Derek? Okay, Derek's up to the north. Okay, let's go to Derek. Derek, go.
Yeah, tornado on the ground just south of 412. It's lifting to the northeast. You can see it in my stream right there. Rotation. We just came up on a little bright spot, and sure enough, there it is. Tornado on the ground right now.
Derek, can you zoom in a bit here?
Look, multi-vortex.
Yeah, we see it, Derek. Can you zoom in a bit here?
Yep.
Yeah, Derek is up near Red Rock. So this is a tornado, by the way. So here you go. This is a weather service. This is going to be near Red Rock.
They need a tornado warning.
Yeah, this is it right here. So you saw that there just seconds ago. And here's another one forming right now. Derek, do you see any structures in the path?
Well, I just see trees right now, but it's multiple vortex. There's that main structure that you can see, but then it's also spinning right down the center of it. It's going to be coming right up towards us here. So you can see the tornado. It's a multi-vortex tornado for sure. On the ground, you can see the main vortex go back side. Then there's more vortices coming around the front side of it there. And there's traffic going down the turnpike here. This is 412 right in front of us here that you're seeing. That's the on-ramp to 412 and 177 south. We're looking to the southeast, and that's, again, tornado definitely on the ground right now. I'm kind of in shock. I wasn't expecting that when I came over the hill. There it is again. You can see it there going through the trees. It's about to go through that little cluster of trees there, about a half mile to my southwest. Again, this is going to come up on 412. So anybody on 412 headed east or westbound needs to turn around. Do not get in the path of this storm.
So, Derek, if you can pan over just a little bit, and by the way, Derek, incredible right here. I mean, good job chasing. It's kind of going off our television screen. There it is right here again. That is big. That is a big tornado,
It's a violent tornado. Yeah, it's a violent tornado for sure. It's kind of occluded in rain here. I'm gonna have to try to figure out where to go here as we
is it coming
come
towards
up
you?
on this again. It's going to go just to my south. We're going to get a little bit obstructed with our road choices here as 412 actually drops to the south, so it's going to make it really tough for us to keep up with this. We'll probably try to go and see. Let's pull forward, Steve, because we'll watch it come up just to our south here. So we're going to pull up and see where it crosses 177 here. I think it's going to go south of 412 here.
Okay.
But you see, like this guy, I don't know if this guy knows that this thing is coming. Slow down, so it's right here. It's right here in front of us, too. I don't know if this guy in front of me even knows that there's a tornado. Sorry, I'm going to get my wiper on here.
Okay, so Derek, control room, let's keep his shot up. Let's also put the radar up so that everyone at home can see who's included in this. So this is south of Sooner Lake, northeast of Sumner, north of Morrison. This is where Derek is right here. So we're going to watch this one real closely again for this storm moving to the east here. Okay, we'll keep Derek's picture up. Let's go back down into the metro. Let's go back down to these winds that are coming in. And so out to Nick we go. Nick, big winds now coming into the metro, now coming into Bethany, the village, north of Surrey Hills. Nick, what do you see?
Yeah, Damon, we just had a funnel.
Is it on the ground?
It looked like it was halfway to the ground. That was just to our back. We were on the Kilpatrick right at 40, and we could not. We honestly could not see exactly where it was, but it looked like a funnel that was going back off towards the Mercy Hospital area. So we're going to turn around and try to get back over there. But it was more than halfway to the ground, Damon. We didn't see anything moving below it, or we didn't see any power flashes. But man, we just looked behind us and we saw it, and we were like, oh my gosh. So we're going to get back over there. We'll let you know as soon as we get over there. Back to you.
Okay, we're watching this one. Let's put the radar back up here real quick. And so I want to show exactly what we are seeing. And so strong winds coming in right now from Banner as you go up towards Surrey Hills. Jonathan finding these areas of these little couplets right there south of Banner. And this whole thing is just spinning along the leading edge. And so let's go back out to Derek. Derek, we'll go back up to Derek. It's going to be, here you go, tornado warning. Derek, what do you see? Okay, we'll go back out to Derek here in just a moment. Okay, we'll get back to Derek here in just a moment. Derek, are you good to go now?
Yeah, I can talk. We just saw the tornado back down on the ground again. You're going to have to do that loop around. Okay. It was back down again. It was east of 177 now. So it's past 177. It was still south of 412, but it's going to cross 412 if it hasn't already. So hopefully no cars were going down 412. We do see some traffic going down it right now.
All right.
There we go. We got tornado warning now for this.
Yeah, tornado warning. Again, that tornado warning issued, Derek, because of you. So great job there. Let's go back down into the metro. Let's go back down into the metro. Look at these winds that are now coming in. And then not only that, but also the tornado warning that we have. And by the way, we have Buck on the tornado warning. Some strong winds coming in here, and then Sky 5 on it as well right now. So we have all of these storms covered the way that they need to be covered. Storm Command near Edmond. Nick near the Xerox plant. Oh, my goodness, that's a big hail. Right here in between El Reno, south of Sundance. And just look at the winds that are coming in right now near Yukon. So strong winds from the village, but this storm is just incredible. This is a bad looking storm coming into eastern Canadian County from Yukon down towards the Outlet Mall. Jonathan highlighting where the area of spin is meeting up there, but this is a bad storm here. Brand new warning, by the way, has just been issued. And so watching this right now, but this new warning that does cover a good portion of OKC is really looking like it's producing some big hail in it as well. Our radar sampling larger than 2-inch size hail. Lime, not dime, lime size hail. It's bigger than golf balls with this cell moving to the east here. So this is just a bad looking storm here. And we're right now just east of El Reno where you see the black here. That is in between Banner and Sundance Airport. And as you go down west of Minko. Let's check in with Michael. Michael's on this storm now. Back into the metro, Michael. Michael, bad-looking storm coming into OKC. Michael, what do you see?
Yeah, I'm concerned about the storm, Damon. It has turned right pretty hard. And so the area that's near Yukon is going to move over Mustang, Moore, and Norman. It is moving east-southeast. It's not moving east anymore. It is moving east-southeast, if not even southeast. And there appears to be some sort of spin in the velocity data just to the east of Union City. We are coming down toward downtown Oklahoma City right now to get in front of it as it comes in toward Moore and Norman. But I'll tell you what, Nick, anybody who's over there, be watching really close, because there is an area along Highway 152 directly between Union City and Mustang where these winds are really starting to increase on the south side of Yukon and on the north side of Mustang. And man, that storm is really starting to take on a more of a dangerous shape to it. Not necessarily potentially a large tornado or anything like that, but certainly watch out for damaging winds, and we'll monitor it. I mean, Derek just saw that. I mean, he just saw that violent tornado in northern Oklahoma. Listen, folks, it can happen very, very quickly. We are positioning ourselves out in front of the storm to keep an eye on it, but please, please don't turn your back on these storms right now.
Yeah, and really watching this closely for a couple of things. Not only this storm, but also this storm that is tornado warned. Nothing really looks imminent right now with that storm, and that's good. That storm has kind of taken a little bit of a downward trend, which we hope we can keep it that way. But we are seeing an inflow notch coming into this storm over Union City. Really concerned about not only the hail threat, some powerful winds with this as it continues to move down to the southeast. So Newcastle 642. And we start getting into more southwest OKC with all of these schools here between Plaza Towers, Briarwood, Westmore, Moore High School, 651, Broadmoor Elementary at 652, and Highland East Junior High School at 652 as well. That's right down 4th Street and more, with this storm moving down to the southeast. So again, we have this tornado warned cell right now covered on the ground and up in the air. Right now, nothing looks at least imminent of a tornado as of right now, but we'll watch it. Otherwise, Chris Lee right now, he is in Minco looking into the storm. And again, this is just a bad looking storm with these winds coming in right now over Union City. Let's go out to Chris Lee. Chris, we're sampling some real strong winds over Yukon. What do you see?
Yeah, we are south of there. We're looking back to the north from Minco. You can see that line of, you see that gust front, those clouds along there, right there where it gets darker there. That's the area that we're looking at, where air is going into the storm, and you've got that. We just can't see any kind of lowering or anything like that in that area, but that's what we're watching. Very strong winds, a lot of hail in there also. We're well south of the hail, but there is hail along I-40 and towards Union City. We're going to follow this off to the east. It keeps dropping further to the south, and we're watching that area. There's kind of a inflow area there. You can kind of see see it's a little lower right there, just to the right of that wind turbine.
Yeah, so heads up, Chris. So what you are looking at right in front of you are 70-mile-an-hour winds and golf ball size hail with this storm. Let's go back over to the radar right now. And again, we're going to watch Chris's shot there closely, as well as Nick, Storm Command, Sky 5, and Buck right now. So Chickasha, you're done at least with that tornado warning, but this is still a bad-looking storm that's coming in eastern Canadian County, coming into Oklahoma County right now. Edmond, down to the Village, down to Mustang and Tuttle. The hail is going to be just west of Surrey Hills. Strong winds right now coming into Yukon, Bethany, up to the Village, and even as you go up into Edmond. Right now, again, we do not have any tornado warnings. However, this storm is still packing some strong winds, and you can see it right here, right over Yukon, dropping down to the southeast at that current track, Bethany, Western Heights High School, down to the airport, downtown Oklahoma City, South OKC, and then making its way from Del City down to Moore. These winds are dropping down to the southeast. You have a storm down to the south that's moving to the east as well, and eventually they will meet up. But as of right now, certainly the threat for some big time winds are going to be probably our biggest concern, and these embedded circulations. Does not mean weak circulation, because you can certainly get some pretty powerful tornadoes out of these while they might be brief. As you can see here, brief does not always mean weak. Let's check in with Nick Smith right now. Nick, we have you south of the Outlet Mall. Give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, Damon, this is a little area. There's a little notch on the radar. If you look where my location is, just back up to the north. We're on Council Road, just south. Damon, this looks like a little funnel that's developing right here. Yep, this is developing right just to my north. That would be just by I-40 and Council, just probably to the north. I'm going to say to the northeast of Council and I-40. It's an area of rotation that's just on the front edge of that line. And every once in a while, it looks like it tries to make a little bit of a funnel, and then it's trying to cycle back around. But Damon, this is I don't like this, Damon. I really don't like this, just because this is coming in just right down I-40 towards downtown Oklahoma City.
Yeah, Nick, if you don't like it, I don't like it either. And so we're watching this, and this is what we're talking about, and this is going to happen a lot along this leading edge here. The rain's coming down. The winds are powerful. Let's head back over to the radar, and we'll show you exactly what we're dealing with across the metro right now. So I know that this is such a busy radar image, and so to kind of give you perspective, there are some powerful straight line winds coming out of this, 70 miles per hour. That can do quite a bit of damage. And so from Bethany down to Yukon, watching these winds surging out. And so they're going to hit Nick here pretty quickly. Area of rotation, it's weak, but it's there. That is going to be west of Mustang, what Jonathan has highlighted here. For Edmond, winds are not nearly as strong, but these are some strong winds coming in here right now as they surge down to the southeast. So we're watching this one real closely right now. The only tornado warning that we have in the state right now is going to be down in McLean County, although we have Sky 5 and Buck on it. You can see their shots there on the left-hand side of your television screen, and right now nothing really on the ground. So, but what we do know for sure is that there are some powerful winds. Chisholm Creek coming into the Thunder facility, probably about to hit us right here at the TV station here any moment. 70-mile-an-hour winds with this storm coming in towards Bethany. Western Heights High School, the winds are about to hit you pretty soon. Downtown OKC, the winds are about to come in as well. Strongest winds are right over Hefner. And then as you go out towards Overholser, near 70 right now, out near Yukon. Tower cam, you want to pop it up, but we'll look at what we see here. Oh yeah, you can definitely see the storm blowing in here into the metro. The clouds are getting lower as this line is now coming in here. It looks like at least this is slightly a weaker end, but sometimes you got to look for these little power flashes where the winds can just always kind of knock these power lines around. Power flashes do not mean tornado. It just means that some strong, powerful winds, could be tornado or straight line, are kind of pushing these power lines back around. Let's go back over to the radar right now. Get an update on these strong winds coming in. Storm Command, you're in downtown Oklahoma City right now. What do you see, Michael?
Yeah, at this point, we're starting to get a look at the rain-free base area. First of all, I was just giving you a kind of a look at what it looks like over Oklahoma City with a big shelf cloud that's coming in. Really, Damon, that's indicative of those strong winds that are moving out with the line of storms. As you look right now at downtown Oklahoma City, that's looking up to the north and northwest. Now I'm going to take my 360 camera around. We'll come back over the Oklahoma River and then come back to the southwest, and that is what we're looking at. That's the rain-free base area. That's the area where we're still getting inflow into this area of storms. Like you said, there's a little bit of rotation back in there, just to our south and west. And I'll tell you, this storm is really still pretty intense. I'm watching it really close on radar as we're repositioning out ahead of it into the Moore and Norman area. I'm still concerned about that area along Highway 152, right along Mustang. There's a lot of converging winds in that area as you're watching the wind fields develop on the velocities on the radar, and nothing has really tightened up. You haven't had anything that looks like it'd be producing a tornado yet, but it's just it kind of makes me a little nervous watching the velocities like that.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Absolutely does. Watching that. Let's go back over to the radar. Let's get a check on our tornado warning that is going to be down to the south real quick, because we do have it covered in the air, and you can see Sky 5 right now near Dibble, panning across the sky. You're not seeing any appendages, nothing down on the ground, but we're still watching this for McLean County right now near Dibble, And right now we have Buck and Sky 5 both on this storm moving to the east. Area of rotation is near Dibble. Right now, again, nothing's on the ground, but we're still watching it closely. Let's check in right now with Buck. Buck, still watching your tornado warning storm. Give us an update with what you're seeing.
Yeah, Damon, we're kind of making our way over towards Dibble, back to this area of rotation on Highway 62, and just to the north of Highway 62, where we're at, I'm seeing a little bit of spin, but nothing that really concerns me at this point. We haven't seen anything coming down out of the base of this cloud, and so we did hear the sirens going off a couple of miles back. I think it was still in Chickasha, but Chickasha is in the clear from this storm. This is moving just south of Norman. There is still some big hail radar indicated in this storm, so we need to be aware of that. But we are right here. We're going to follow it all the way into the I-35 area and get back to you if we see anything that concerns us.
Okay, so that tornado warning continues. That Buck is currently on right now. And again, on the ground, we have it covered up in the air right now, not seeing anything imminent, but we're watching it. And so you can see a brand new update. By the way, this warning is no longer in place. The new warning is going to be this polygon from Middleburg, Dibble to Cole. Let's go back up into the metro. Right now, it is raining. It is coming down hard. And so as we go up to the north, this line of storms now coming in. This is powerful. Right now, the wind strongest from Bethany as you make your way down towards Mustang, finding this little area. That right there would be at least your rotating couplet. And then straight line winds from Spencer down to downtown Oklahoma City. Our radar picking up on that area just west of Western Heights High School, west of Mustang, east of Union City. That's currently making a track down towards Moore, coming into Cleveland County here. So Mustang at 622, Will Rogers World Airport 636, a bunch of schools here from Westmore, Briarwood, Southmore, Plaza Towers, downtown Moore at 649, Moore High School at 650, Veterans Park at 652, there right at the corner of Bryant and 4th Street, again with this little couplet right here. These are going to move down to the southeast pretty quickly. Let's check in with Chris Lee. Chris, watching these storms closely. Give us an update, Chris, with what you're seeing.
Yeah, we're just to the east of Tuttle. We're looking back to our north, a little bit west of due north, into that area that Michael was talking about. There's an area where there's some inflow into that storm. You can see kind of a rounded shape there of that cloud there, and then kind of an area there where it's lowered. You can see precipitation. That's kind of where we're looking to see if there's anything that looks interesting that might be spinning in there. That's the area that's to our north, up towards the Mustang area, or a little bit to the west of Mustang. But we haven't seen anything yet. I know there's some very strong winds and some large hail in there, and we're kind of staying out ahead of it as this line moves to the east and builds to the south. We're going to be following it into the Moore and Norman area. David?
Hey, Chris, be safe. Everyone out there that's chasing right now, be safe with these storms coming in as these continue to not only 65 in Yukon, I believe it. So near the Clydesdale Ranch. I'm coming in from Jonathan. Let's check out velocity right now. Let's look at the winds in here because we knew that was coming. The storm is warned on for 70-mile-an-hour winds and golf ball size hail, big time winds, and we can definitely see these pockets of winds. Right there. It's the brighter greens and even the blues. So this was a few minutes ago out near Richland, north of Banner. And so that's your strong winds, and these winds are just spreading right now into the metro. You can see how they just kind of empty out right over OKC from the zoo down to Mustang. And so there's Nick right now near Western Heights High School. Pocket of strong winds blowing down to the southeast. Jonathan finding these areas of rotation like finding a needle in a haystack just west of Mustang right now. We do not have a tornado warning for OKC. This is a severe thunderstorm warning, although considerable damage can certainly occur with this type of warning. 70-mile-an-hour winds and golf ball size hail with this storm right here blowing into the metro. And so we have Nick, we have Chris Lee on it right now. Storm command is down and more. And right now, tornado warning continues as we go down towards McLean County. We just talked to Buck there just moments ago. Again, only one tornado warning currently in the state. Let's zoom on out real quick. Let's just do a quick check up to the north. Show everyone what's happening. So Stillwater, storms coming in right now. Let's check in with Stillwater. And again, keeping a close eye on these right now. These are severe warned on. And I know the rain is coming down. You can see a bit of a couplet right here. South of Stillwater. It's not very strong. It's not tornado warned, but there's at least an area to watch to south of Stillwater. Stillwater, keeping a close eye on this for you. Right now, again, that area would be moving mainly to the east-northeast and would stay out of Stillwater, but from West Point down to Ripley, eastern parts of Payne County. Strong winds as well down by Perkins. Watching that too as you go into southern Payne County here. But these are some real powerful winds that can certainly do quite a bit of damage. Matter of fact, let me get an update with this warning that we currently have in place right now, because I do believe this is going to be warned on for 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail. Let's go down to, I see that just west of Ripley. Again, that is an area to watch. It's not tornado warned, but right here would be at least some rotation happening near Perkins and Ripley. So we'll continue to watch this. Okay, right now it's not tornado warned. It is a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's go back down into the metro, get an update. I know it is coming down. It is raining heavy outside right now, and look at all these storms that are just coming through here right now. So heavy rain from the village to downtown Oklahoma City, hail out by Union City, some strong winds associated with this as it's continuing to make its way right through here. Still finding a bit of at least spin into Mustang. You can see your inflow coming into this near Tuttle, although the supercell down to the south may be kind of interrupting it a bit, kind of messing it up a bit, which is good. That's helping to at least hopefully bring the tornado threat down. Speaking of tornado threat, we saw this warning going on, and look, Buck and Sky 5 are right on this. So the moment something happens, we'll be able to see it. But right now, nothing looks imminent right now. You can see Sky 5 on the left-hand side of your television screen panning across the storm, and so far, everything still seems to be kind of up high in the clouds. We like that, but still, current track down to the southeast, Washington 638, Purcell, Lexington, Wayne to Paola, 655 to 7 o'clock. Let's go back up into the metro. Tornado warning now for Payne County. We were just looking at that just moments ago. That was that area spin. We'll get to that in a moment. Let's do a quick check, though, in OKC. Let's look at velocity here, see if we see anything that's kind of popping up here. Still seeing at least a bit of an inflow right over Mustang. And what's always difficult about these, when you get these lines that come in here, is that they bounce all over the place. And so they don't last long, but they do last long enough to make us concerned. So we're here in OKC now. Paycom Center, 622. Tuttle, 624. Dell City, 630. A lot of communities here all the way down to Tinker between 6:30 and 7 o'clock. Right now, it is currently 6:20. Watching these storms coming in right now, some extremely heavy rain. On top of the rain that we had this morning, there'll certainly be a lot of areas that are going to pick up in excess of 3 to 4 inches. Okay, we're going to quickly go back up into Payne County. Brand new tornado warning that's just issued. Does not include Stillwater, but it does include Ripley to Cushing. So into your tornado shelter right now from Ripley east of Perkins, with this storm moving to the east. Ripley at 624, and then we go all the way down to Drumright at 704. So Stillwater, you're okay. Again, this tornado warning is going to be just southeast of you, but Ripley, innermost room of your house or your tornado shelter right now. This storm is moving in here pretty quickly. So yet another tornado warning has just been issued and eventually coming into Cushing. Cushing, we're watching it closely for you. Right now, we're still about 5 to 10 miles west. And again, that circulation couplet just popped up on the radar just moments ago. So that right there, the story for Ripley. Let's go down into the metro, back into Edmond, OKC, down to Mustang, watching this line of storms now surging down to the southeast. There's a lot of spin with this storm, although nothing right now is a tight tornado radar couplet. We do see at least some rotation along the leading edge of this as you're getting some powerful straight line winds coming in here. Here's Nick, here's Michael, here's Chris Lee. Let's check in with Chris Lee. Chris, watching these storms, and they're producing some powerful winds, some heavy rainfall as well, Chris. Chris, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, you can kind of see that gust front, that roll cloud there out there in the front, kind of bowing out. I'm looking to the north. We're west of Tuttle. We're east of Tuttle. Looking up to the north and then back to the west here a little bit, you can kind of see where the tail edge of the storm is, and the inflow area is right back there where that roll cloud watching that area very closely, and then we're also watching this area panning back to my near the area, and that's kind of the other side of where that bow of that roll cloud, where those stronger winds are, goes back towards the clouds, and there's an inflow area there. We can see some lowering in there from time to time, but never see anything that's come close to the ground and can't really determine any very strong rotation like we had earlier. But we're watching that whole line from here as we're headed east towards the Moore and Norman area.
Okay, so that entire line, again, watching it as it's moving down to the southeast. We have Chris, we have Nick, we have Mike, we have eyes on this storm. And so intense rainfall, too, by the way. I mean, we're really setting up for a flood threat as well. You can just hear it. This storm is not done. The tornado warning that we have east of Middleburg, that Buck and Sky 5 are currently on. It's been going through this cycling stage so far. Really haven't seen anything touch the ground in the last couple of, about last 30, 45 minutes, but it's still going. And so we're still watching it from Dibble to Cole, west of Washington. Again, Buck is on the ground. We have Sky 5 up in the air. As a matter of fact, let's go full with Sky 5 just to give those in Washington towards Lexington and Slaughterville an idea of what's coming in their direction. Again, the storm is still trying to reorganize. There's a lot of rain in this, and you can't even see through it, but this is still quite the storm. As a matter of fact, let's check in with Chase Rutledge in Dibble right now. Chase, we've been watching you fly around the state here, so you've been on the storm for a while. How's it look now compared to, say, about 10 or 15 minutes ago, Chase?
Well, Jonathan, 10 or 15 minutes ago, we didn't have this lowering. These clouds are rotating and they're constantly moving, but you can see just in our shot, as the seconds go on, these clouds are just appearing out of nowhere, and that's an indication of that high humidity and that warm air being drawn in. And we're feeling the effects of that inflow into this storm. There's a lot of movement, and it's hard to see. You can continue to watch it, but if you look closely, we're seeing a lot of that inflow. Those clouds are starting to develop, and that lowering that you see there, it keeps coming down more and more. We're definitely going to keep an eye on this. Like you said, we're just to the south of Dibble, just to the west of Kreiner. And so in this area, this is something to really watch. There's a lot of rain between us and Oklahoma City, and we're going to work to try to get around the west side of the storm here in a little bit. But for now, we're just going to stick right here and keep a close eye on this and see what it does, Damon.
Okay, yeah, we're watching your shot there real closely. Again, this coming in from Chase Rutledge. So let's go back up there. Let's go to Payne County. Let's go up into Payne County, just east of Ripley. Again, this storm right here, you can see right here, inflow near Ripley. Real concerned about this for Ripley. Again, you're in your tornado shelter right now. Ripley towards Cushing with this storm moving to the east. We have Derek Klein right now. He is going to be just east of Glencoe. Coming in on this storm, a lot of rain with this one as well as part of that line. But this entire line, as we saw earlier, that Derek was showing us up near Red Rock, produced tornadoes. And so, again, Ripley down towards Drake's Corner. You're still in the innermost room of your house in Cushing. I need you to be going into your tornado shelter right now in Cushing with this storm. Again, this storm continues to move to the east. Tornado warning, not for Stillwater, but Ripley. Need you in your shelter, innermost room of your house. This is certainly a dangerous storm as this is moving to the east, and don't like what I see here with this leading edge of storms and then seeing these rotating couplets. Remember, this is an area that was part of the moderate risk for severe weather earlier today, so this threat is absolutely concerning. Jonathan, can we go over and check CC, see if CC is picking up anything here? Down by Ripley towards Drake's Corner. Again, when you see at least these inflow areas, always concerned about at least something getting picked up here, whether it's strong winds. But as of right now, we're going to watch. This is our debris tracker that we have with this. And so at the current moment, not detecting anything getting lofted up too high, but still, we are concerned at least with that type of that feature right there. We're going to go back to this Cushing. We'll come right back to this. We're going to go back into the metro right now. We're just working a bunch of storms at this moment, really setting up for quite the flooding threat too coming in here. Between the rain that we had earlier today in OKC and then now what's coming in here, this is some intense rain that we're watching. Let's check in with Storm Command, who is going to be near the airport. Michael, talk about not only the storm hazards of wind and hail, but also flooding coming in here. Michael, what do you see?
Yeah, and one of the things that we're seeing is the storm system is becoming a little bit more parallel to the flow, to the wind that's flowing through the storm, and that could cause, again, the storm to not move as fast. I've been seeing storm movements slow down, like maybe 25 miles per hour at times. That's going to increase the flooding risk with these. It looks, Damon, look at this shot. I mean, we're southwest 149th and Penn. We just passed that intersection. And we're coming up on May, and I'll tell you what, that is quite a gust front. I mean, you just don't see that very often here across Oklahoma City with it looking that ominous. But as of right now, as far as the damaging wind threat, it doesn't look like the winds are as strong to me based on what they were earlier over Yukon, but there's a pocket of wind that could be developing over the east side of Mustang, just to the west of Will Rogers World Airport, and that is an area to watch in case it starts to get enhanced. So we're right out ahead of that, and we're going to take a ride up here and go back up to 240 ahead of that and just see how strong those winds are as they come down here into the Moore area. So we're going to make our way back up to the north a little bit and get right where those stronger winds are going to cross. So I would say if you live in Mustang down toward Moore, again, mainly east of Mustang, southwest Oklahoma City, Moore, you could still see some strong winds move across with this line.
Yeah, absolutely. And so watching this one real closely, we can see that pocket of winds. Here it is between Mustang and OCCC, dropping down to the southeast, and then Jonathan highlighting down by Pocasset for at least another brief spin up, trying to pick up here just west of Amber. So certainly quite the storm system dropping down to the southeast. So everyone here in the path, and Jonathan and Michael is right about how the winds don't look nearly as strong now, but they're still strong enough. So Del City 634. Pocasset 639, coming into the Moore area around 640. Sooner Elementary School there off of Sooner Road, just south of Tinker, at about 645. Same thing for Tinker. And then down towards Briarwood and Moore High School at 645. All these communities right here, still watching out for a brief spin up, tornado threat, and some strong straight line winds. Let's check in with our tornado warning that is down to the south here. We have Sky 5 on. As a matter of fact, let's check in with Chase Rutledge if we can. Chase, watching this, we're just south of the Riverwind Casino near Cole, southwest of Goldsby. Chase, how's it look from where you are?
Well, Damon, Francisco and I were just talking. This looks like it just continues to lower. We're up here at about 1,500 feet above the ground, and it's been going down below us, and then it'll climb back up again. And right now, it looks like it's gathering some more momentum. We are seeing some of that rotation that we've been talking about. Now, it's nothing intense right now, but at times we have seen a whole lot more activity in it. We're starting to see some more lightning, but this is right in that area, and you can see there on the right side of that storm, if we can zoom in on that right side of that lowering, starting to see a lot of that inflow and a lot of that cloud development, and we're keeping an eye on this because as it continues to get lower and lower to the ground, as we're kind of dropping in altitude, then we're going to start to look for some of that rotation that could create some of those rotating tornadoes and finger tornadoes, things that we saw, those rope tornadoes way up to the north. We could start seeing that here if this gets lower to the ground. But right now, it's up pretty high. Let's come to the left just a little bit more, Francisco. Starting to see another little lowering area. We're seeing some of those appendages that kind of stick down underneath the clouds. Those we're watching really closely because if those get some rotation on them, we could start seeing something on the ground. But that looks really interesting right there. Damon?
Yeah, absolutely. And visually, I mean, this absolutely deserves a tornado warning just by what we are seeing up in the air from Sky 5. And so, again, Chase right now currently near Dibble, watching this for Goldsby to Slaughterville. Again, Goldsby to Slaughterville. Here is a storm right here, Slaughterville at 7:06. Okay, let's go back up into Payne County. Cushing, the sirens are now sounding up in Cushing for this storm that is coming in. So Cushing, we're watching this closely for you. Once again, innermost room of your house for Cushing. You can see right here, Derek is coming up on this. Some powerful winds coming into Cushing right now. Let's check in with Derek Klein. Derek, tornado warning right in front of you. Derek, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Damon, we're just now getting it into our sights. We can definitely see the rotation on radar. It's about 4 to 5 miles to my southwest, just south of the town of Yale. So if you're in Yale, you need to definitely be paying attention to this, especially if you're just south of Yale. But we can see kind of the orange sky underneath it, which is where that inflow is coming in. And I'm hoping because we have that orange sky, we're going to get visual. We have a lot of trees in our path right now, so we can't see exactly where the tornado or the potential tornado would be if there was one. But hopefully here in a few minutes, we will get a clear spot where we'll be able to see exactly where that storm would be. So we're going to continue to monitor this. But again, if you're in the town of Yale, really in between Yale and Cushing right now, that's where this storm is passing again, just south of Highway 51. Back to you.
Okay, so Cushing right now, again, you're still in the innermost room of your house. Tornado shelter with this storm right here, although it does appear to be on the north side. Derek's looking right into it. Again, his picture there on the left-hand side of your television screen. Okay, brand new update. So some of us in Norman, our phones are about to go off. A brand new tornado warning is about to be issued for this storm that is going to be south of Norman, but will clip at least some parts of town here. So not downtown Norman, but it will clip at least south sides for this storm that's lifting to the east-northeast, coming close to Lake Thunderbird. We have Buck on this. We also have Chase Rutledge up in the air, keeping a close eye on this. And so let's go out to Buck, because Buck, you've been on the storm since it became tornado warned, kind of all by itself throughout the afternoon. It is still by itself. Buck, how's it look now compared to, say, a few minutes ago? Brand new tornado warning now just being issued.
Well, it appears to be kind of reorganizing itself. And what Chase was saying earlier, he's got a great view of it from where he's at. We have a really good view at it as well. And we had a significant lowering just probably 2 minutes ago, and it's kind of dissipated now. So it just keeps regenerating these lowerings. I wouldn't say that I've seen anything that would resemble a wall cloud at this point, but I can see some rotation in it, and we're sitting here looking right at it. And if you look at the left of it, we almost have maybe a little bit of a funnel sticking out of it at this point. But the rotation is just not real tight right now. Back to you.
Yeah, we can definitely see that there, Buck. Again, you're giving us a view of what it looks like from your vantage point. Sky 5, let's go over Sky 5. Again, Buck and Sky 5 are kind of working hand in hand here. And so this is what it looks like up in the air. And again, brand new tornado warning was just issued just moments ago. Does not include downtown Norman, but it does include those of us very close to Highway 9 and just south of Lake Thunderbird. Let's go to the radar, and we'll also put this up as well in a box here, but show everyone the brand new warning that does stretch across Cleveland County. It's this right here. So Goldsby towards Slaughterville, and as you make your way towards Etowah. So Slaughterville at 651, Etowah 707, Macomb 723, Avoca 730 with this storm, this tornado warning that is going to be going off for with this storm right here. Sirens are going off in Norman. The reason being, again, will be for this storm that does clip parts of the city of Norman, although OU, this storm is staying south of you. Downtown Norman, the storm is staying south of you as well. Anyone that's going to be on the north side of Norman, the storm is staying south of you as well. But in extreme southern Norman, towards Goldsby, again, you can see here some of us being clipped by this tornado warning polygon that was just issued right here. Jonathan, you're highlighting down towards Noble.
Yep.
How's it look on velocity?
Yeah, the rotation's back to the west. I just circled the town of Noble. For some reason, it's not popping on the radar, but I've been down there, played baseball tournaments down there. So that's just south of Highway 9, Highway 77, the town of Noble. They're in the path of that tornado warned storm. So.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, Noble. Yeah, okay. So that's Noble right here. But yeah, your circulation is still going to be on this backside as well. Still getting some appendages coming out of the storm. Watching this one closely again for those of us in Cleveland County. Let's go back up to OKC. Get an update right now on the rain, the wind that's coming in. We're still warned on this. Entire line is still warned on as well. We have Chris, the Storm Command, and Nick Smith right now, and all the way up towards Luther. So Edmond, things are now improving for you. Out towards Piedmont, things are improving for us as well. El Reno improving. Now, on a completely different perspective of this, where it's not storming, western Oklahoma, I get it. You're getting some incredible winds right now, blowing over 50 miles per hour on the backside of this storm system here. But this line continues to fill in from Tuttle all the way up into northern parts of Oklahoma County here. So right now, the area of spin that would have at least some rotation with it is where Jonathan is highlighting Chickasha to Amber, and we do have Chris Lee looking right into that storm. There's going to be little areas of spin all along this entire leading edge here from Moore all the way down towards Amber and Chickasha. Right now, though, not tornado warned. Tornado warning remains in effect, though, from Goldsby. Let's check in with Nick Smith right now. Nick, you're in Moore, watching the storm come in right now. Nick, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, Damon, I am actually on Western Avenue and in between 149th and 164th right now here on the south side. If you know where, I think it's Emmaus Baptist Church here right next to me. We are currently just watching the front edge of this. We've seen some areas where we've seen some lowerings off the front edge of this, and so we're watching it as it comes through. We're going to keep going south here on Western, which will take us right down into Norman, but we're going to continue to watch this front edge because we have seen some lowerings at times, Damon. They look like they're getting close to the ground, but we're not seeing a whole lot of rotation with it. Back to you.
Okay, and again, Nick, down in Cleveland County right now, watching the storm closely. Your picture, we see it coming in currently in the Moore area. So let's go back up to Cushing. Let's check in with Derek Klein real quick. Derek Klein is going to be up in eastern Payne County. Get an update with this storm. Derek, watching this closely for those in Cushing going into eastern Payne County. Cushing, the area of rotation, is now going to be northeast of you. Derek, give us an update on what you're seeing, Derek.
Yeah, Damon, we're on Highway 51. It's kind of a dangerous situation. Hopefully, it'll stay south of 51. But there was some road construction right before you get into the town of Yale. There's an 18-wheeler that's off the road, so traffic is at a standstill. And there's a tornado warning just 2 or 3 miles to the south, and cars are just stuck there, so they can't go anywhere. But hopefully, it'll stay to the south. It looks like it will head towards the town of Oilton. So we're going to shift back to the west as we can no longer go east on that route. And take a look. There's our tornado sirens going off on our phone. So we're going to shift back and see what happened back in Cushing and the Oilton area. Back to you.
Okay, so brand new tornado warning, by the way, just issued. So originally we had a tornado warning for Cushing and south of Yale, and now Yale, Jonathan, you highlighted this area of spin here just a second ago. Brand new tornado warning. So Derek, just a heads up, new tornado warning now just about a mile east of you for this couplet that's going to be an extreme eastern Payne County, headed towards eventually Drumright. And as you make your way towards Oilton here, again, going eventually into far eastern Payne County. Ripley, the tornado threat is now wrapping up for you. Cushing, the area of rotation, is going to be just northeast of you, going into eastern Payne County. So Derek is watching this. Shane watching it as well. Shane is going to be west of Ripley. And you see the storm track here going to the east. Okay, let's go back down into the metro. Still watching these storms coming in right now. And not only while the threat for severe weather continues, some extremely heavy rainfall is really going to become a pretty big factor as well. And even seeing what appears to be at least our hail core over the Tuttle area and some strong winds. You can see here with our storm impact here where the hail is. It's down on the southwestern side of this line here, the southern part of it. So from Verdon, Amber, Minko, up towards Western Heights High School in southwest of downtown Oklahoma City. This line is dropping down to the southeast. Here's your large hail. So Moore at 6:52, and then we go down into Blanchard at 7 o'clock. So right now, Blanchard, the threat for you, tornado threats east of you, Blanchard, but watching these storms right here that are going to be near Bridge Creek, dropping down to the southeast. Hail threat developing with this right here. And as long as this supercell storm that we have near Goldsby and south of Norman, as long as it's all by itself, which it currently is, it's likely going to be tornado warned. It's going to need these storms to catch up to it and kind of undercut it. And until that happens, it's still going to pose a tornado threat. Just looking downstream, going not only into Cleveland County, but eventually southern Pottawatomie and Seminole County. The rotation is not very strong with this, but it is still rotating, and it certainly does bear watching. I mean, even visually, it has that tornado look to it. You can see there on the left-hand side of your television screen, that's coming from Sky 5 up in the air. So putting a storm track with this to the east, Slaughterville at 6:56, Etowah 7:14, Romulus at 6:41. The narrow tornado warning and does clip some parts of Norman. If you hear the sirens going off right now, Noble, you're included in this as well. OU, if you're south of or if you're north of OU, you don't need to worry about this supercell. Now you do need to worry about the storms that are west and northwest of you, which we are watching them closely as well as they are coming in with some extremely heavy rain. Still warned on 70-mile-an-hour winds and ping pong ball size hail. Hail core stretching from Tuttle down to Amber, and then rotation there, stronger winds down by Verdon. We have Chris Lee currently in Chickasha, Nick Smith and Moore, Storm Command and Moore as well. Let's check in with Michael right now in Moore. Michael, watching these storms drop down to the southeast. Michael, give us an update on what you're seeing.
Yeah, okay, Damon, this is looking straight south. I know you know this area well, right? Just south of 19th Street here in Moore as we're headed down toward North Norman and Indian Hills Road. And I'll tell you, as you look around, again, skies are very dark along the leading edge of this. One good thing is it's very linear, and I don't see anything that would looks tornadic to me at all as it's moving into Moore and Norman, and that is a huge relief. I can tell you, for so many people who live in Moore and Norman this time of year, May 2nd, 2022, that's a really good thing to be able to tell you, is that this is going to be a really heavy rainstorm. There'll be a lot of lightning, could have some hail with it and some gusty winds. I'm not seeing anything as far as damage like tornado or anything like that right now moving into Moore or the Norman area at this moment. We are going to actually move down into the Norman area, go east on Highway 9, and see if we can help with that storm that still has a tornado warning on it, just in case. I know that before long it'll get dark and it'll be tough for Chase to kind of stay with it. So we are going to continue to kind of monitor that one as well and help Buck on that particular storm. And we'll be able to continue to look back up to the north. So I'm going to spin my camera back around and look north up I-35. Man, that is what people driving northbound from Norman up toward Oklahoma City, that's what they're going to see right there, Damon. I mean, that is truly just like a wall of water, and that's what it is. You're going to drive into extremely heavy rain, so please be careful on the roadways as you're out.
Yeah, absolutely, and certainly one of those times of the day where if you just want to hang tight for a bit, do it. So we are finding a pocket of strong winds right now that is going to be near Westmore High School. This is going to be right here at 4th Santa Fe in Moore, just on the west side of Moore. So the Norman Healthplex Moore is going to be located right here, and then we're going to be just right along 4th Street and Moore. See that blue right there? That's winds around 50 to 60 miles per hour. So it's a small pocket of strong winds just east of, at 63, there you go, just east of Westmore High School near Plaza Towers. But we are watching, at least, it's a small pocket of strong winds dropping down to the southeast. At that current track, if you're watching in Moore right now, moving down to the southeast, that will go from 4th to 19th Street and come very close to at least the shops of Moore, and as you make your way down by Moore High School. So we'll keep a close eye on that. Storms continue to backbuild all the way down towards Anadarko and Verdon. Chris Lee watching this inflow notch near Chickasha, tail end Charlie over Anadarko. That usually poses a tornado threat as well. So that dropping down to the southeast is now going to pretty much roll back over some of these areas that were impacted by this supercell, this tiny supercell storm that is still out by itself. So now we're looking up to the north. So Laverty, 706, Ninnekah, 727, Rush Springs, 743, with that storm dropping down to the southeast. Chickasha, bit of an inflow. Let's check in with Chris Lee right now in Chickasha. Chris Lee, from a radar standpoint, we see a bit of an inflow notch coming right onto the north side of Chickasha. What do you see from where you are?
Yeah, looking at that myself, this is on the H.E. Bailey Turnpike between the two Chickasha exits, looking back to the northeast, and you can see that that area. We're looking just to the north and a little bit perhaps east of Chickasha. I have seen some rotation in the cloud base right in this area. I'm kind of looking. I don't see any right now. It's been fairly slow, but you can kind of see the lowered area there, and that's the area that we've been watching. By the way, that brighter area behind that kind of column of light, that's a hail shaft back behind there. There's some very heavy hail in there. And then looking back off to the west towards Anadarko, you can see the inflow area over there, and we're watching that also from this location. You can see the rain. Those are rain shafts, no tornadoes or funnels or anything like that, but we're watching that area, and we will let you know if we see anything as it moves through Chickasha area and on towards Lindsay and places to our southeast.
Yeah, so Chris Lee, just a heads up, what we're looking at, Chris, just west of you from Verdon to Anadarko, not only increasing the hail size, but also increasing our shear southeast of Anadarko. So going to have to watch this. This is pretty powerful. And as we always say, these tail end Charlies, they do this a lot. So large hail on the west side of Chickasha. The storm is still rotating over Slaughterville. Let's check in right now with